How about George Foreman naming all of his kids George?
Did he really?
Yeah. Named George 1, George 2, George 3, George 4. Georgina was the daughter.
That's so weird, dog.
Yeah. I mean, you have to grow up resenting your dad a little bit, right? If he names all of you after him.
I mean, names in general, when you think about it, kind of like, why don't I get to name myself? Like, why do, like, as a baby, like, I'm just picked for me? Like, this should just be reserved names until you reach the age of, like, I want to be called this. You know what I mean? And that's my name.
Or until you do something cool enough to get your name.
Ooh, you got to earn your name? I love it.
Got to earn that name. I mean, back in the day, you used to get last names based off what your job was. My name would be PFT Podcaster. And then I'd have, like, kids 800, 900 years from now that are growing up in whatever the future version of the United States is. And they're going to be like, oh, hi, I'm John Podcaster. Oh, your grandfather. He did Roman Swipes ad reads.
Well, my last name either comes from two places, and one of them, if it was of that just like trade craft name, would have been just cottage builders. But then the other side is like a bunch of Norse mercenaries that like colonized Ireland. So it's either that one or just cottage builders.
When we rewrite our own constitution, we're going to put that in there.
Yeah, I like that. Earn your last name. Big T's great-great-grandparents were just very, very lazy, very sleepy.
Why is that?
Your last name's Knapp.
Oh, got it.
Madeline was just, pulling
Basic
schemes,
Irish.
just pulling schemes on guys named Roy.
Yeah, you swindled your great-great-great-great-grandmother swindled the fuck out of a Roy.
Yeah, my great-great-great-grandmother is the original Tinder swindler.
Yeah.
Hey.
Con, that goes right into the topic for today.
It does. Big show today. Welcome back to Macrodosing. It is Thursday. Nailed it. January 19th. Thursday, January 19th. We've got a huge show. Billy McFarland is going to be our guest. He came into the studio and he had, believe it or not, a lot in common with our Billy. It was Spider-Man meme, two Billys meeting each other. And
not that much in common. One of us has been to prison. One of us hasn't.
Yeah, you're right. He's more like hardcore than you.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of similarities between you two. Not in like a necessarily, well, yeah, probably in some bad ways.
No, come on.
But
I can't just this is like saying I'm like Casey Anthony.
No,
it's not.
He's, innocent.
Can we just stop? she's innocent.
I thought it was a good conversation that we had. And there were some moments where you guys bonded a little bit.
No, we didn't bond. You're like really hyping that up.
Okay.
And you was simping for him? It was
I wasn't
really weird.
simping for him. By the way, on our last conversation, Arian Foster literally translates to Argentina.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, it always stops with black people because of slave names, And this is the fun's over, guys. Fun's over, slave names.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm excited for you guys to hear the Billy McFarland interview. Yeah. Interesting guy. He's, I guess, out of prison trying to get his life back together. But man, he had
we'll leave that up to
he had some
leave that up to interpretation.
yeah. You'll see. You'll find out later. We did maybe talk him into a couple business ventures that he sounded like he was on board with.
I'm gonna be honest. He had so many ideas. I mean, if you're in prison for that long time, you're probably just only thinking of ideas when you get out.
Yeah, I mean, if I went to prison, I think that I would probably come out in great shape.
Yeah.
Oh, easily.
I get so jacked. By the way, Christmas abs, Super Bowl abs had a minor setback last week.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about Super Bowl abs.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It tends to happen.
I'm going to start tomorrow, like everybody else. We're starting tomorrow.
I'm starting already right now. I had a salad for lunch today.
Dang, I just ordered a Dr. Pepper. I'm probably going to drink that.
Yeah, you should. Dr. Pepper's delicious.
It's amazing.
I got COVID last week. Unfortunately, we talked about that on the show for a little bit. But what it did, the worst part about COVID now isn't the COVID. The worst part about COVID is just you stay in your house and then you order bad for you food and you lose track of your diet. So that's the real danger that COVID had on me. I just ordered a bunch of delivery food, got fat, weighed myself this morning at the gym, 188 pounds. 188. Back up to where I was last year at the start of football season. 188 pounds. I don't know what I was a month ago, but I suspect I was about 178. I think I've gained 10 pounds in the last month.
I think a lot of
What's your playing weight? What's your playing weight?
Playing weight 175.
You're not far off. That's easy.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I want the abs to show, I think I have to be about 160.
Yeah.
abs are so overrated.
Well, I want to have abs at some point.
By the way, I think a lot of your mass gainage has been since we've been lifting. I think there's some muscle in there.
But I didn't lift all last week. But I was lifting before that.
Yeah.
So there might be some muscle weight in there. I don't know.
We can't sell Macrodosing swim gear until one of us have abs. We can't do it.
I nominate Big T.
Gonna be waiting a while.
I need to drop a few pounds. I acknowledge that. I'm ready to get started on it again. So hopefully Super Bowl abs will. They're not just a pipe dream. I considered getting liposuction, but I'm not going to do that.
I think I'm gonna try the fat burning thing.
No.
Is that cool sculpting? I'm gonna try it.
Oh, cool sculpting. Those fat burners fuck you up.
Arian, the cool sculpting.
You know,
I've thought about it. It makes your stomach look like you had a C-section a little bit. If you want that for yourself.
Is that cool now?
I think
is that in?
No.
I think that's for people who like don't know how to proportionally work out. Like I know how to target areas. Like I think that's what it is. Like it's not a quick fix.
There's no such thing as spot workouts.
What is it? What are you talking about?
Like you're saying that you can work out certain areas and reduce the fat in that specific area.
Yeah,
that is not true at all. That's been
you can target the area you want to focus on. What are you talking about?
Like to build muscle or to lose fat?
We're having two separate conversations that kind of mean the same thing here.
Either one.
Arian's right that if you work out your core, you can make your abs bigger and more prominent. But Billy's right in that you can't, if you want to burn fat, the fat will burn all over your body at the same proportion.
Yeah.
You can't be like, I want to lose fat on my stomach.
No, that's not what she said though. So it's like the when you cool sculpt, it literally kills the fat cells around, and then like people don't know how to like target workout. They don't really know how to work out those. They think it's just gone, and it's just like uneven deposits. And so if you work out and target your core, it should look okay.
I might cool sculpt. We'll see. What's that process like?
I'd do it.
Honestly, I might just
I would
box
do it
again,
tomorrow.
just like get hacked.
I got this picture
there's-
that popped up on my Instagram of a lady cool sculpting a dude, and it's just wild because like she has the thing on his stomach and he's sitting back and just like smiling. But if you block out the actual device, it looks like she's doing a little job on him. I'm gonna send it. It's fucking hilarious.
Bonk.
How much does it cost?
From the ads that keep popping up because I talked about it a few times, I believe it's around like $500, $700.
Let's look up the science behind it. What does it mean?
All right, we're gonna get to the bottom of cool sculpting on this episode. Billy's gonna figure it out once and for all if it actually works.
Like what the fuck?
If it works, I will get cool sculpted.
I would
Okay,
get cool
wait.
sculpting. with
Low
everyone.
level laser.
So from my understanding, for the little research I did, it literally just like freezes the fat cells and then flushes them through your lymphatic system. And so it's not like a quick fix, but it does flush them out naturally, and it does work. But the issue is like people think it's like a liposuction and you don't have to do anything. So it's more for people who are active and like constantly work out. It'll really make a difference. That's what I've seen from the people that it actually makes a difference on. It's from people who actually work out and are active. And for people who are just chilling, if fat just comes right back because you ain't working out.
Wait, but let's be real here. If you were freezing fat cells, like freezing human flesh,
Yeah.
that's frostbite.
Well, it's not flesh.
No.
It's not skin.
It's
frostbite.
fat.
Frostbite isn't frostbite skin.
It's skin, but well, let's check this. Let's check that out. The only thing is like, okay, we're freezing something. What happens when your body gets way too cold in a certain area? Frostbite.
Yeah.
That's so. I'm like, what are they giving you internal? Actually, I don't know enough about frostbite.
Why are you not getting frostbite when you get cool sculpted? That's a good question.
Like cryolipolis and its mechanism of action is a completely different modality from the techniques discussed so far. I'm just trying to figure out, but the thing is your lymphatic system, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about lymph nodes.
Well, so does that mean that you end up pissing it out or pooping it out?
Well, the thing is the lymphatic system is a very sensitive system, and you don't want to mess with that because that's how like you end up with Hodgkin's lymphoma, like swollen lymph nodes.
But the lymphatic system, if it's taking out stuff that's already in your body, it's not like we're putting a chemical into the lymphatic system.
Yeah, but you're fucking with it with some frequencies.
We're putting fat into it.
Yeah, but dead fat that's been killed with frequencies of some sort. And let's be real, like that kind of sounds like damaged DNA in there. What's damaged DNA when it starts replicating?
I think you should read about it
control.
before you make all this shit up that you're talking
You're
about.
casting a lot of aspersions.
I'm just
You're just
thinking
making a
about
lot
it.
of shit up.
I think like
You're making a lot
counter
of
could be
shit.
counterpoint.
You're
I'm
taking-
gonna
it could cause
be
cancer.
so fucking hot.
It could be.
You're talking-
Could cause cancer.
You're taking bits and pieces of information that you know, and you're throwing them in a hat and saying, "I think I have a theory."
Well, yeah,
That's true.
I mean, why would I be on this
That's
podcast?
that's what I do.
That's what the fuck I
That's
do.
what I do.
Yeah, dude. Like, what? You think I'm trying to think rationally?
No, that
right
is
now?
that's actually describing Billy's brain to a T.
Like the fuck?
He picks up pieces of information and then he extrapolates that onto new information that he learns, and
Yeah.
he creates his own reality sometimes.
And
But
it's
that's why
awesome.
we love him.
And
That's
my
like a
world
Voltron,
is
a
sick.
Voltron of Voltron of bad ideas.
Yeah. I might cool sculpt. Let's see. Let's check it out. Maybe I'm gonna hop into the giant freezer and get fucking jacked up on abs.
It's not. They literally take a
They literally
take a thing and they put it over the fat that they want it to freeze. And so it's not like you're in a cold tank. It's like they literally target the areas.
they zap you.
I'm gonna get zapped.
I'll get zapped.
I know Mad Dog.
Let's do it.
Mad Dog keeps saying that. She's like,
Yeah.
if anybody out there wants to get us all,
If anyone wants to give us free cool sculpting, I'll think about it.
I got a friend I can talk to.
This is, I don't know, guys.
It's actually Joey's
Yes,
friend.
you don't know, guys.
This not so cool. Because, like, the thing is, when there's only good things to say about a certain product, that means that there's someone scrubbing shit.
I just told you that some people look like they got C-sections.
But if there's no incision,
Look at Julia Fox.
oh my God.
Oh, did she take that thing away?
What?
Julia Fox? Does she still got backyard?
Yeah, she's all good on the back.
Okay.
Go
good.
look at her.
I don't know, though. She's
Look at-
gotten way skinnier since she did Uncut Gems.
Look-
There's
look
also
at-
something called cocaine.
Billy, go look at her stomach.
That
right
affects gains.
Yeah, that's what
now.
I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it makes you lose weight.
I'm pretty sure that she's been. Don't want to insinuate anything. She's been spending a lot of time with Kanye West. That probably takes it out of you too.
Well, she's done with that.
I almost feel like, I bet he did do cocaine at some point in his life, but does he do cocaine now?
He doesn't strike me as a coke guy.
Like, I feel like he thinks that's unholy now.
Yeah, it doesn't strike me. I don't get drug vibes from
Yeah.
Kanye.
I feel like he
Yeah, I
could
don't think
that-
he does. I think he's just naturally high. I think he's just high on life, man.
Good for him. Just say no, kids.
Yeah,
One day you can end up with a brain like Kanye's.
His brain just got a little bit too much air in it.
I think he
Don't
needs
do drugs, and you too can love Nazis.
He needs to do more drugs.
Cool sculpting horror stories.
That would maybe work. Yeah.
I like if Kanye West got into psychedelics. Imagine the beats he would come out with.
Wow. Yeah, because like when you juxtapose pre-LSD Beatles
Yeah.
versus post-LSD Beatles, is the night and day difference.
Oh,
I think Kanye West has been too sober his entire life. He needs to start.
I'm on this.
He needs
I'm
to
on this train.
experiment with drug. Same thing with Zach Wilson, Mormon quarterback. Maybe if he started picking up a drinking habit or something, Billy, he would throw all those interceptions.
I know. Wait, guys. So I think I found what the paradoxical adipose hyperplasia. So
Okay,
sometimes
that's a big ass word that
Yeah,
you don't
but-
know what it is.
sometimes what happens is people get basically, because they squeeze the fat and burn it, it's like you sometimes end up with like permanent disfigurement in the shape of like that little bump of fat at the bottom of your stomach
Yeah.
that ends up getting pushed together, and you end up, it looks like you just have a sticking out piece of fat, like a stick of butter just on the bottom.
You get a mound.
You just get a mound.
Yeah.
Let me see the mound. How
Yeah.
bad
Let
is
me
this
see it.
mound?
Send it to the
I'm
group.
sending
Like it's got to go somewhere.
Like, Because when you gain it back, I guess, after it gets... It's rare but treatable. Oh, it's... Rare but treatable, but it's not worth the risk. I'd rather just be fat.
I'd rather.
What's the risk?
This.
Because I'm thinking about doing this. I've put in my time. I deserve abs, but I just don't have them.
I agree with that. I deserve the amount of time I've spent in the fucking gym the last like 3-4 years, even before that, like when I was actually in good shape, playing sports and stuff. Never had abs because I always had that little pooch. I'm with you, Arian. We deserve it. We owe it to ourselves to give.
We deserve this. So I'm cutting this corner with a fucking barber's precision. I'm giving myself a lineup downstairs.
I like it, and I actually think maybe I'm just lying to myself about this. I think that if I got abs, I could keep them. The problem is just getting there. I have a good lifestyle.
Too. Yeah, I agree because I'm not excessively wild with it. You know.
Yeah.
So when we get them, we're gonna keep them.
Abs for life.
So you see that how it goes from just being that thing in the middle. You just go from being regular fat. So all the way on the left was what it first looked like.
That dude is jacked up on the left. Why'd that guy get cool sculpting?
Because he probably had a little bit of fat at the bottom he couldn't get rid of. And then he ended up just getting that thing in the middle, which was all of his fat just concentrated at the base of his stomach.
Billy, are you sure it doesn't go right to left?
Good question, Mad Dog.
These
before and after pictures are tricky sometimes
because they're tan on the left, and I feel like usually when you're tan, that's the after picture.
Oh wait,
hey, in Arabic,
Alex
in Arabic countries, do they do before and after pictures?
Wait,
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
though?
the one in the middle is what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm saying I think it goes right to left instead of left to right. Like I think this man looks better after.
Yeah.
No, but that after picture is when they fix it.
Whose computer is that?
Not mine.
Billy. Billy's been putting together a presentation, a big presentation. You'll have to follow him online to figure out what it is. But he's been trying to get to
Gonna need it.
go on an all expenses paid vacation as he does.
Oh come on.
Big T. We didn't get to this on Tuesday's episode, but where do you teed off about? Anything tee you up?
I mean, it's hard to even get teed off anymore, you know? I mean, Joe's hiding documents wherever he wants. Like, eggs are $38 a dozen. Like,
Let's talk about the egg situation.
CDC can't cover up.
I noticed that the other day. Eggs are like $10 at the grocery store.
I think it's like bird flu.
I mean, it's always been $10 where I shop, but now everyone else is paying $10 for their
Yours are
eggs.
18
Well, you
now.
know what's crazy? Getting your own hens, I think a hen is cheaper than like 2 boxes of eggs right now.
Yeah, so it's more economical to buy your own chicken.
Yeah, dude. So I still have my own chickens upstate, and I've just been getting those eggs.
You've been going on egg runs.
Yeah.
So why are eggs so expensive? Because I've seen firsthand that they're super expensive. I've seen people complaining about it online, which I totally agree with. If eggs go up to $10, something is fucked up. But I've done zero research as to why eggs are so expensive. So this is the beauty of this show. Billy right now is researching online, pulling up, I'm sure, very reputable sources.
Why are eggs so
and we're going to
expensive?
have your answer momentarily, unless anybody already knows. Does anybody already know?
I thought I saw something about an avian flu of some kind.
There's always an avian flu.
Yeah, that should be baked in at this point.
Wait, did the chickens, did they die of avian flu, or did they die with avian flu?
Well,
Or were
probably
they
if
given?
the government's counting,
prepositions.
probably the latter.
It seems like
They die on avian flu.
Well, it looks like a new.
seems like a pandemic of chickens.
It looks like a new.
Pandemic of chickens.
So there
We've
is.
got all the documents right here. Sorry, go ahead, Billy.
Why are eggs expensive?
Oh, yeah, I thought
You're just now typing that in.
That's the first thing.
Okay,
doing, bro?
so you know what I just got? So here, read this.
It's great podcast.
Okay, Billy's showing me his phone that says that he's used all his data.
My high-speed mobile hotspot data because
I'm connected to the Wi-Fi
we
right
have
now.
we have internet here.
Right, but in this corner, it doesn't fucking work.
It works frequently.
Bro,
You're
like,
hang on,
dude,
hang on.
You're literally 2 feet from his laptop.
You're telling me
man.
that from there to there it doesn't work?
No, Big Cat talks about it all the time. I'm literally saying
So do
this
I.
corner
So do I.
works.
The internet sucks. In
The
this
internet in the
building,
whole
but-
office sucks.
I know. Well, I think wherever they position the thing, it sucks right here. And it's not.
He's
not.
in
All right,
Mobile.
I'm going to do Billy's job for him. Prices continue to skyrocket, up 60% in December from a year earlier. Last year, the
Okay,
average
I got
price for a dozen large grade A eggs in the U.S. was $1.93.
Okay.
By December, when egg demand peaked, I know that December was egg
A
demand.
lot of nog.
Good point. Yeah, baking and most importantly, the nog. The price surged to $4.25.
Okay, so this is so recent events have created a perfect storm to send egg prices soaring. Some of the components that are contributing to record egg prices and help to explain why eggs are so expensive right now include avian flu, rising feed costs, which may be geopolitical because of wheat and corn,
Yeah, in Ukraine.
cage-free regulations, higher gas prices, the holidays, popularity of vegetarian meats and keto lifestyles, designer eggs, overall inflation, and eggs be eaten at all meals.
Well,
Wait, they're blaming
aren't you guys
us?
glad we're, of course.
I did have
It's good
steak
that
and eggs
we're-
for lunch. The war
It's
in
good that
Ukraine.
we're getting this out of the way, before Easter hits, because that shit's really gonna spike up then, right?
Oh wow.
Shit.
I'm gonna buy stock in eggs.
The war in Ukraine and sanctions against Russia for the past year.
Easter with these egg prices being what the way they are. All right, Billy, new topic for you
Okay.
because I think we get the general gist, which is there's a bird flu and
the
then
war in Ukraine.
wheat shortage,
Oh,
and then also because they figured out that
this
we'll
is
pay it.
interesting. Ukraine was the largest supplier of sunflower seeds, which was a huge component in a lot of high quality egg feeds.
Okay, so chicken feed, yeah, Billy, new assignment.
Cage-free regulations.
New assignment. Well, those have already existed.
Hmm.
They're just wrapping up all the
New
stuff
rules.
into one. All right, so Billy, new assignment. Find out what companies I can buy stock in where eggs, the price of eggs as it stays up, how will I profit?
There may be a commodity.
Yeah, look up like the big egg commodity. Cuz I think Arian is right on the money. We got Easter. Like why does it say that egg demand
markets.
increases the most in December? That is bullshit.
Well, that's when
People
everyone's
are-
cooking.
Yeah, but people are buying eggs willy-nilly in the springtime and not even cooking them. They're just drawing on them. That's the real egg season.
Did you not eat the hard-boiled eggs that you would color?
I don't remember.
Like
think
I don't
baking-
like hard-boiled eggs, but my mom would like eat all of the eggs that we would color because they're just hard-boiled eggs colored.
I just bet that there's a lot of
Deviled
eggs that get
eggs.
thrown out
That's
around
true.
Easter that don't get eaten.
That's true. I think you're
Interesting.
underestimating how much baking goes on during the holiday season that involves a lot of eggs
That's-
and
that's
just
also
cooking in
true.
general. Like
Yeah.
you need eggs for
Lots of-
stuffing,
Yeah, that's true.
Stuffing.
cookies,
Yep.
cakes,
Mashed potatoes.
mashed potatoes. Whoa,
No.
wait, no.
No, I don't put eggs in mashed potatoes. But it does go back to I had this question. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Why do we just eat eggs in the morning? Who labeled eggs as being a morning food?
Now they're on burgers.
Eggs should be an
I
anytime
don't-
food.
I don't know, but I'm so glad that that's a thing, though.
What about like Korean barbecue where they put eggs in your bulgogi?
Or
Well, I
pho.
think I eat eggs. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die because I eat so much eggs. So I'm with it all day. But I think it goes well. Like breakfast food, it just unless you have eggs, it doesn't feel right. It feels funny. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, it is down right now. We got to hop on this.
What is it?
Nasdaq COM.
Tell me
Yes.
the name of the stock. Bill. I'm gonna buy it right
CALM.
now.
CALM. COM.
lamb.
Calmaine.
No, calm.
COM. CALM.
CALM. Calm. That's it.
Let me see exactly. Nasdaq COM. It's down 5504, down from. It was at a high of 56 on January 18th. Let me look at 1 month. Oh, it's down big time over a month. It was high in December, which I guess the cyclical nature of egg buying that we talked about.
Mhm.
It peaked in December, but is currently rising over the current egg crisis.
I'm looking at this, Billy. It's like at an all-time high right now.
So I'm looking in what graph are you looking at?
Calm. Cal-Maine Foods.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the 5-year chart. It's basically at its all-time high. Over the course of the last year, it's down a little bit from its peak, but it's still up 34% year over year.
Yeah.
So it seemed. Can you find me one that's down a little bit more?
Okay. Well, this I'm saying it's down from where it was in December.
Okay.
Because it's January. December was its all-time high, but it's down now, so it could bounce back up in the spring.
All right. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna buy.
Okay.
I'm buying stock.
Egg stock.
What eggs do they make? Like what brands?
They do Land of Lakes, Eggland's Best, Land of Lakes.
Let's look what the most popular selling eggs are.
Got it. Just got it.
How much you get?
About one share.
For $55.
$55. $55.09. That was my strike price. So follow along with my portfolio at home. I'm not a licensed investment advisor. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I just bought one share. I only had $57 in my Robinhood account for some reason. I forget why. I probably sold some stock that absolutely cratered and lost a lot of money on it.
I'm going to Schwab.
So whatever, $55. Let's party.
Getting in on
Deregulate the egg markets, Biden. Brandon.
Holy shit. Jesus Christ. I did not want to pull up my Schwab account. We're not doing it.
Okay. So Big T mentioned it. Our beautiful president, Joe Biden, has been discovered that he has 5 boxes of confidential information.
Who knows how many? His good news is we impeach for that now. We didn't make those rules, so got to impeach.
Okay, did we? I forget. Trump's been impeached so much. I forget if that was one of the reasons.
That
why
was
we
one of
impeached
the yeah.
But that was after the fact.
No, he wasn't trying to be impeached. They're trying to arrest him for that.
I thought they wanted.
I don't think he got impeached for that, did it?
No, he
No,
didn't. He got impeached for Ukraine. He got impeached for.
It was after he was the
Taxes,
president
right?
when that shit happened.
Well,
Yeah,
they
he got-
impeached him.
he got
They
impeached for
tried to
January
impeach
6th,
for
yeah.
so much, it's hard to keep up.
Well, January 6th, he got impeached for that.
He didn't get impeached.
I think he did get impeached.
Yeah,
just
no,
didn't
it
get
was
removed.
twice.
He didn't get convicted, but he got
Yeah.
impeached. So you get impeached when it passes
Twice.
when it passes the House. You've been impeached.
Hey,
at
if
that
you
point.
don't got haters, you ain't popping.
Like Clinton got impeached.
It's facts. Haters are your
Yeah.
marketing team.
It's true. It's very true.
So
So I only know what I read in the news. So maybe Big T, you can educate me if I'm wrong. The Trump stuff, he had a bunch of boxes at Mar-a-Lago, did not turn them over to the archives, and then he entered a negotiating process with the Department of Justice and the archives, and then he was holding on to them, using them as probably my guess is that Trump wasn't selling secrets to anybody. That's not why he wanted the confidential information. My best guess with Trump is that if he has something that he knows that you want for whatever reason, it could be because it's the law. It could be because he just, I don't know, this is how he operates. They wanted something that he had, and so he was going to try to extract concessions from them in exchange for him turning the stuff over. Because he always thinks, okay, I've got something somebody else wants. That's an asset for me in the long run. So I don't think he was selling secrets to the Chinese or anything like that. I think he was just oh, you want this thing that I have? Well, guess what? I'm powerful. You're not. So I'm going to hang on to it for as long as possible. So now with Biden, they found a bunch of confidential stuff that he had in his garage, which is fucked up. And
Which is not where he keeps his Corvette. Please keep that in check.
where does he keep the Corvette?
I forget. He was like, and I do not keep my Corvette in that garage. I keep it here.
Okay.
if he protects his Corvette with the same protection as those documents,
Well, that's a good point, Billy. I wish that he did keep the documents in his Corvette garage, because then he'd be taking care of them.
yeah.
So-
But that was the whole point of that statement.
So wait. So Big T, maybe you can educate me on this, because I admittedly am out of the loop a little bit. So they self-reported that they found these documents, and there's a bunch of them, and so now they're in the process of giving them back to whoever it is that wants them, right?
I don't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically it. That's the difference between the Trump and the Joe Biden one. Is the Joe Biden's lawyers were like, hey, we have the shit and we're gonna cooperate fully. Trump's lawyers were lying about the shit, lying about what was there, lying about how it's there. And so that's the difference.
Well, I mean, Biden was lying for years.
The DOJ,
that he had this shit.
The DOJ subpoenaed Donald Trump, and he didn't adhere to the subpoena. This is a very big difference.
But Biden has been
I don't give-
inherently lying by hiding documents in his garage.
Okay.
If he has in fact been hiding them in his garage, then I think that he should be arrested. And he goes back to my
How
whole,
else do they get in his garage?
you know, there's a lot of stuff in a lot of people's garages.
You either have to
the garage is where you just put everything.
You either have to admit that this is probably something that happens with every political person and that they all probably have shit at their houses that they shouldn't, or that he's a criminal.
I think it's probably more of the former, where like you move all your shit out of the White House.
But remember how
You
that
bring all the
wasn't
stuff
the
with you.
case very recently.
But again, like I get
It was sure they were kind of harping on you have documents you shouldn't have, but it was more so that he wasn't complying, especially with the DOJ was like, yo, like comply. And he was like, no, that was the bigger story. It was because he wasn't complying.
again,
And he was lying about it. Like that's the thing.
both bad. But I think that once Trump found out that he had the stuff, he was like, well, I'm not going to give it to you just because you asked. Who are you? You're not me.
Also-
you don't need my stuff.
I was wrong. The Peter Ducey said, classified materials next to your Corvette. What were you thinking? Biden responded, quote, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like they're sitting out on the street. So
Okay.
they were with his Corvette.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no.
His baby,
Yeah.
his pride.
He was protecting
Well,
him. It was locked.
At least Hunter didn't have access to this house, right?
Who knows?
Yeah.
He was
I mean,
paying rent in it.
Yeah, that's. I think the thing is Hunter did have access to this house.
I'm sure.
Hunter, that's probably where Hunter
And
was,
the hookers and yes.
probably where he was making his crack. What if that's the confidential material that Biden had was like the CIA step-by-step manual from the 1980s on how to cook crack cocaine?
The Reagan manual.
Yeah, and so Hunter Biden was just using his dad's old family recipe for crack.
And the Nancy Reagan
That's funny.
gluck gluck tutorial.
Whoa. But yeah, I mean, I could, if I was a good lawyer would be able to argue like he was just cooking up the family recipe, guys. Like
Honestly-
that old vintage crack, you know, the good stuff.
There's an egg shortage, so he was going back to the good stuff.
Yeah. That would be very funny though if Hunter Biden was just like, if that's where he had a stack of Pyrex and baking soda and he just like moved those one day and then underneath all that stuff was these classified materials. We should be able to laugh at Hunter. That's what I'm saying. All parties.
I mean, I don't think any of the people that Hunter was hanging around with would actually have any use for a lot of those documents. Like, because in the same way that January 6th, when they stormed the Capitol on January 6th, they kept looking through the documents on all the, in the House chambers desks, and they're like,
Oh, yeah.
we got to find something. What is in here?
Yeah.
Did they lie?
I found one of Nancy Pelosi's bras.
Did Ted
And
Cruz
it's
lie?
like it's like pulling one of those giant novelty handkerchiefs out of a drawer.
Did he go against us? Remember, they're trying to read the documents. They're like, wait, Ted Cruz voted nay on this? What does it mean?
Yeah.
Was this the bill to vote?
Yeah. That was very funny when they were getting to the bottom of the shenanigans.
Yeah.
So yeah. I guess it's a house that Hunter had access to. But
$50K in rent a month is pretty steep.
all right, so I did a little bit of digging on that because I saw that and I was like, wait a second, was Hunter Biden really paying his dad $50,000 a month to rent out his house? Because that's a lot of money. And then I found some other sources that were saying that this $50,000 was for his office suite, that for his business that he was renting out. And there was some convolution on where that money was. So he was paying somebody else that amount of money for his actual rent for his office, and think he wrote that $49,000 figure on like a gun application where it was saying like how much money do you spend a month on rent, and so he was writing what he spent on rent for his office space while giving his home address on that same form. Does that make sense? So it's like, Billy, if you paid $10,000 a month to rent out Barstool Sports, if that was coming out of your pocket, and then somebody was doing like a credit check on you and said, okay, what's your home address? And you wrote your home address, and then they asked you like, what is your monthly rent? And then you wrote what your monthly rent on was for Barstool Sports. That's what I've seen, because if it's true that it's $50,000 that he's like paying to his dad, That's kind of fucked up for Joe Biden to be charging his son $50,000.
Well, you know what's
Well,
really fucked up? Joe Biden is pushing gun reform and his son's buying guns.
So
Like, hey,
Illegal ones?
well, I mean, when he wants to take away all guns, that's been said.
I'm
been
seeing
Handguns.
That has been said. Billy's
Like,
right.
well, he's stumbled around it. He doesn't even know what he's saying, but he's let that out.
Biden's definitely said several times, like, I'm not taking your guns away. I'm a gun owner. Biden's like, I remember even like way back in the day, Biden.
Well, he's changed.
probably
those
next to the
opinions.
boxes in his Corvette.
I think that was one.
He
Of
also said that he was, top of his law class.
that was one of the malarkey.
And then he went to
situations.
Delaware State, a school he
And-
didn't
and
go
he
to.
had a full
And yeah,
scholarship and-
if we sat here and listed all
was-
of Joe Biden's lies, we'd
He also
be
talked
here all
about
night.
There's a-
super predators, but
There's a lot of malarkey. That was Hillary, by the way, that said super predators.
He also
Yeah,
said
Joe Biden wanted. I'm not,
You know what?
again.
You know what? Yeah.
If we
You can-
sat and got into Joe Biden's transgression, Hunter Biden claimed in 2018 he paid over $49,000 a month in rent while living at his dad's Delaware house. Joe Biden's 2017 tax return on Schedule E listed $19,800 in rent received. In 2018, Biden listed no rent received.
Okay, so that would indicate that
Lock him up.
That would indicate that Hunter's.
Well, Hunter should have been locked up a long time ago.
That to me, Big T, what
Hell
you just
yeah,
said
lock him up.
indicates that Hunter listed the rent that he was paying on his office building on that form for $49,000.
Maybe
Lock him
it's
up.
under current residence.
Yeah, no, he listed his address, current residence, and then there was another section for how much you pay in rent. I think he listed his office space because that to me doesn't seem realistic. That
I
you're-
guess, yeah.
that you're paying your dad $50,000 a month in rent.
well, if you
unless
gotta
I'm-
wash some money,
Unless I'm really missing something.
let's say you're getting kickbacks.
What's more likely? Let me ask you
Let's
this.
say you're on a couple boards.
What's more likely that he listed his office space rent on that thing, or that there's like an international
PFT.
scandal that he?
Given that it's Hunter Biden, we're
50,
talking about
yeah.
international scandal.
I think Hunter Biden
PFT.
is a real big like local scandal guy.
Can I ask you a question, PFT? Why the fuck does Hunter Biden need an office?
I don't know what he does.
He's an artist. Why the fuck does he need an office to
I don't
pay
know.
rent on?
Well, I mean that was not smart. Do you know any artists?
No, but let's say I know
They all have offices.
studios. They have studios,
Also, he's not an artist,
That's
Bill.
what
He's,
it- that's
he's an
that's what a
international
fucking
energy
office is.
mogul.
right? So, like, why does he need an office?
Well, he's got these Ukrainian jobs that he has to take care of.
Yeah, he just shows up. He gets a bag of cash in the hotel, and then he goes home after sitting and listening to the
No, I mean
to the speeches.
he's probably not barred anymore, but he was a lawyer, so it's not crazy to think that he has an office. I think most presidents' sons
But why?
have an office. Chelsea Clinton definitely had an office. The Bush twins definitely had an office.
Jenna Bush Hager's the last woman that needs an office.
Yeah, let's be real. Like, why? Where? What are they doing in the office?
I have no idea. I do not care what Hunter Biden does.
Do
I
you-
think
Yeah, I don't understand the
That-
obsession about Hunter Biden. Who gives a fuck what he's doing? Who cares?
Because I mean, like, think about it, several global issues, and maybe global movements may be associated with interactions with the Biden presidency through Hunter Biden.
I think
Do you think Hunter Biden's starting the war in Ukraine?
No, but I think
So I mean, what are you saying?
I
then?
think that certain dealings with the Biden administration have been navigated through Hunter Biden, which I don't think is a reliable actor in dealing with U.S. national security risk or national interest.
Hunter Biden is the key to geopolitics right now.
It's-
bro. That shit is
I
wild.
don't think that Hunter.
I think he may be a
Represent-
cog in it.
I don't
He's
think.
probably done some shit to get some money like every other politician's family member. It's just so uninteresting. Like, who
Let's
gives a
say,
shit?
okay, hypothetical. Let's say Hunter Biden, who's on the board of many, I don't know the exacts, but it's either one or a couple Ukrainian gas companies, with the promise that we will ensure that Ukraine becomes the main gas supplier to Europe if we give you this money. If you secure and sort of cut off Russia's influence on Europe with gas supply and make Ukraine the main gas supplier if your father wins the presidency and we'll pay you. Is that the craziest thing with everything that's going on?
Yeah.
And let's say a president called
like,
and said,
what does Hunter Biden have to do with his dad winning the election? Like, do you think he influenced the election to have his dad win to
Let's
make
say
this
there
deal
was-
fall through? Like, this is batshit.
let's
man.
say there
I
was
actually think-
funding
I actually think
from
that-
these things
that
to
Hunter Biden is like the biggest pain in the ass for his dad ever. Like I don't think his dad views him as an asset. I think his dad's like,
how'd you put a pain, maybe put him to work? If you want to be, if you want to make up for all the pain you put me through, go to Ukraine, put your skin in the game and go make some dealings, get some funding, But hey, this is a hypothetical. I don't know if this happened. I don't know if the documents and, evidence is all right there on the internet. I don't know. This is
I would throw something at you if I was in the studio. I would throw something at you.
Truth hurts. Anyway.
Holy shit.
Truth hurts.
Holy shit.
So bottom line is I don't really give a fuck about Hunter Biden. And yeah, lock him up, sure. Lock up Joe. Every president should be in prison after they get out of
cool
office.
With that.
Every single one of them. Except for Jimmy Carter, who should have been locked up before he went to the Oval Office. Jimmy Carter, if Jimmy Carter had just lived his life as a peanut farmer and a governor, might be the most popular person in the United States right now.
I think he's still extreme. I mean, he was president. Nobody that's alive was alive when he was president. So
it's so remarkable because this is like if Hillary Clinton 30 years from now, like Big T is a huge fan of hers for all the work that she's done.
No, thank you.
Because like Jimmy Carter, people hated him when he was president.
But now he's just like this sweet old man that nobody
cared. Yeah,
you have to be 50 to remember when he was president. So
probably older than that, right?
Yeah. 55.
He's just a little peanut farmer. Old
about
Jimmy.
Time for him to
stop it.
He's about to.
I'm
just
stop
saying.
it.
Yeah, we just restarted the clock.
We did.
It's getting close.
No more Jimmy Carter
it's
talk.
just is what it is, man. That guy's time is precious.
The picture of Joe and Jill with Jimmy and Rosalind is so funny too. Where they look like giants next to him. Billy, can you drop that in the group chat?
He was born October 1st, 1924. Is there any chance that he gets to 100?
We need another year and a half.
20 months,
Wait,
basically.
which picture?
Yeah. Joe and Jill Biden with the Carters. It's a very funny picture. The Bidens look like they're different species. Like they look like avatars standing next to humans because they're so big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say what I truly think the answer to that question is, Big T.
Once you've gotten to 98, though, I mean, what's another 2?
You're basically there.
I feel like
that's
you
a
move in
lot.
turtle time, though.
Two is a lot.
Like, it's a long time to be when you're 98.
I saw this shirt recently. It said it's weird being the same age as all these old people. That's got to be weird though, man. Because like, I don't know. It's kind of eerie. Like, what do you? And this might come off as, unempathetic but it's actually empathetic. I'm like, what do you have to look forward to like at that age? You know what I mean? Like, what's like when you wake up in the morning? Are you like excited or are you just like, oh fuck, like? Is it a countdown in your head? Like, like what is that like?
You're probably wondering why God hasn't taken you, because usually if you've earned heaven, that's when you get taken.
Yeah.
And you're probably like, oh shit.
And then also you wake up, if you're like 95, you wake up and you're like, oh, not again. I got to do this whole thing. Got to do the routine.
No, there's probably stuff you like that you get up like to drink coffee.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like drinking coffee. I like looking outside. I like
gardening, hearing from my grandkids.
Yeah. There's stuff you do wake up and like to do.
Yeah.
I mean, why do we wake up?
When you're that's it. Wow, Billy.
Why do we live?
Damn. Once really everything after 18 is downhill. Sorry to break it to you. Like 18, when do you think you peak?
I think 27 is the peak. 27's like
really
when you think you live forever and shit. And then like 28 comes, you're like, oh fuck, I'm almost 30. And 30 comes, you're like, oh shit. Here comes old.
Yeah. Billy, you still have at least like 3 years to look forward to.
Sweet.
I'm glad Arian said something that was higher than 25.
Yeah. No, 25, you're still very much on the upswing. Because
you're young.
You're 25, you can still tell yourself my body hasn't hit its peak physical form yet. My body's growing, it's thriving. And also in your early 20s, you don't really have that much walking around cash, not as well established. You hit your late 20s, all of a sudden you got a little jingle in your pocket. You're able to do more stuff.
Well, you do.
Peak. When I was 27?
Yeah.
No, when I was 27, I was selling dogs for $5 $5.25 an hour.
Jeez, more dog abuse. Unreal. This podcast is so anti-dog.
Used dogs. Actually, that's a lie. When I was 27, I think I was making 50 grand a year. But when I was 25, that's when I was selling used dogs. $5.25 an hour.
Were you good at it?
What do you mean by used dogs?
I was
What does
the
it mean?
best. I was the best used dog salesman. Swear to God. I was so good. I was so good at my job, they accused me of cheating.
Yeah, you keep saying used dogs.
They were,
Like it's like a shelter?
yeah, there's a shelter. I worked at a registered 501c3 in Austin, Texas. And so what they would do, they would go around, they would get the dogs from the local shelters that were about to be euthanized. And so they would pick them up. They had a bunch of vans. They would pick up the dogs that are about to be killed, take them to our shelter where we had space. And then every morning I would drive out there at about 7:30, 8. I would load up the van with the dogs that I wanted for that day or that I was assigned for that day, fill out their paperwork, being like, I have this dog, this dog, this dog. Take them, set up a big operation outside of like a PetSmart or a Whole Foods or a Fresh Plus, some of the big areas out there that people go with high foot traffic. And then I would have tip jars set out for the dogs, not for me. And then also I'd put the dogs out there, try to get them adopted, to find them homes.
Okay, just
Okay.
the terminology of used dogs
It's
made
funny.
it seem
It's
like
a bit big T.
people were dropping off their dogs, being like, I don't want this dog anymore.
Trade in. Yeah, I'll take your dog on
if
trade
you
in.
do that, you should go to jail.
Here at PFT Commenter Pets Associated, we give you more
that's
for
what
your
they're doing.
trade.
Okay, so how many times did you say-
A lot of them are like strays and stuff like
Lena
that.
Dunham showed up, and she was one of our biggest suppliers
How-
out there.
Did you ever like
checks
say,
out.
if these dogs don't get adopted, they will die? So you are killing these dogs by not adopting them.
I would lay heavy guilt trips on people. I'd be like, this dog was actually marked for death, and I picked it up earlier today. And isn't she just the cutest? This dog could have been dead. But thanks to the work that the other volunteers at my company do, we were able to save its life. Now, isn't that wonderful? And then they'd be like, here you go. I had all the tricks. I'd bring Leroy out there. I'd put Leroy in one of the pens. And then people would like come from across the parking lot. I'd be like, is that dog for adoption? Be like, no, that's my dog, Leroy. But wouldn't you like to go over here and look at this Catahoula mix? So I'd get them in the door, and then I'd start the process on them. I'd get a puppy out. Another trick that I'd hold the puppy, and as people drove by, I would do the little puppy wave with the puppy paw. And then people would just stop in their tracks, park the car, come over and say hi.
Like,
It was run by
manipulation.
It was run by a scam artist, though, like a true scam artist. The guy that founded the organization really hated dogs. He was pretty much a British Arian foster, and he could not stand these things. And so I was always curious, why does this guy run a dog rescue organization when he seems to hate dogs? He was just using dogs like to get money, basically. So he would.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So the adoption fees that I would take, usually those would go towards giving a dog proper health care, getting them up to date on their shots. What I found out was most of the dog adoption fees were going right into this guy's pocket.
They gave the dog the jab.
They gave them. You're supposed to give him several jabs.
My dog's fully vaccinated. Just
Yeah.
want that on record.
I know. So it was
Sheep. Dog's a sheep.
He probably does whatever you tell him.
Exactly, he does.
Dude, I could wake your dog up so fast by showing it some facts.
Yeah. Don't red pill my dog, bro.
You are a propaganda
He's
machine
happy.
for your dog.
He's happy right now.
Oh, he's happy because he's under your control.
He's in a jail. Like, the best way for someone to build an indestructible jail, an unescapable jail, is if you don't know you're in a jail.
And he owns nothing and he loves it.
Yeah.
As you will soon.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Billy is basically one giant
It's-
WEF for his dog.
Exactly. I am.
So, real quick, I want to finish up about this British guy. I don't know if I've told this story on this podcast before,
Sounds like a good lad.
but he owned the organization, and then he took me out for training on my first day, and he was like, "All right, so watch this." And a lady came over, and he was like, "Look at this great dog," and she was petting it. She's like, "Oh, why would somebody give up such a beautiful dog for adoption?" He's like, "I don't know. Somebody threw this dog in a lake." And the lady was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, the person that brought him in was out in their boat on a lake. And he said that this boat came by, and the guy just took his dog, threw it out into the middle of Lake Travis, and then sped away on his boat. And I went over to it, I rescued it, and then I brought it to you guys because I know you guys are out here all the time." So the dog had been rescued from the middle of the lake.
Is that true?
And the lady was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so terrible." And the lady tipped put some money in the jar, and went on her way. And a couple minutes later, another lady comes up and she sees this other dog that's in this other pen. And my boss goes, "Yeah, this dog was rescued from a lake." And so that was just his story that he would tell everybody. I don't know why he thought the lake story played.
Because I got sad.
Yeah, you don't want to think about a dog getting thrown into a lake.
We
Can't dogs swim though?
Yeah, but I mean, Lake Travis is a big lake. If you get thrown in the middle of it, you're going to drown.
a lot.
Called a doggy paddle. Paddle, dog.
It would get exhausted. So, I was a great used dog salesman.
A lot of dogs are too dense to swim.
Yeah,
They're just way too dense. They sink.
I did one time. Back when my roommate was living with me, one of my best friends, he lived with me for a while. He had the little pit bull looking bulldog. I don't know what the fuck it was.
Oh, like a bully?
Yeah, something like that. So when we first moved in, I threw his dog in the pool because I thought all dogs can swim. That is not the case.
It's too dense.
That motherfucker sunk, and I was like, "Oh shit!" But I found somebody tagged me in this, and I found the one dog that I fuck with.
This is huge.
This dog, I don't know how true this is, but it died. But this is what the story that was on the tweet I was tagged in. This dog was trained to sniff out kitty porn. Like literally, he was on a task force, and like he was trained to sniff out like USBs and things like that. And he found like and snuff out a whole bunch of kitty porn. It's just wild.
Wow.
Like people put it. They give examples of like people put a USB on a key, like in a keychain, or it looked like a key. He found like one in the wall. He found like one. It was like a whole bunch of different things. But he found that's what he said. I don't know if it's true. If that's true, I fuck with that dog. And if that's we should train all dogs to do that. And then I'm in. Then I'm 100% in. But until then, that's the only dog I like.
Yeah. I mean, I guess USBs are only really used nowadays for like bad stuff.
Yep.
Because of the cloud.
Yeah. If you have a USB, it's like trying to take something that's going off the grid.
Yeah. I'm like trying to think like, well, there's so many USBs because that was back like when we all had USBs for school and shit.
Yeah, now we just use like hard drives for work when we have like big files, but nobody uses like a plug-in USB anymore.
If you don't work in content or stuff where you have very large files, like which are usually content, then if you have like a little USB, then you're like, what the fuck?
Well, a lot of times people in production, they have the big external hard drives that they carry around with them, but those are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And eventually a thumb drive is going to be able to hold as much data as one of the big ones have. And then at that point, it's like, okay, I understand why you'd have it. But right now, if you're rolling around with a thumb drive, I'm immediately suspicious. I'm thinking that you're trying to steal something off a computer that's here, like spy movies where they plug it in and they're like, hurry up.
Yeah.
And the file ticker just keeps like increasing. And then somebody's coming around the corner and they walk around the corner finally and the person's at the desk and they're like, hey, what's up? Because it's like half a second after their file had downloaded.
And they never have to select the USB either. They just plug it in and shit starts download. You got to go into the thing. You got to select the USB. They never do that shit.
Yep. There's a lot of minutia involving computers that never gets discussed in movies.
And they pull out the USB before hitting eject.
Also, when people text
Very
in movies,
dangerous.
it takes a 1/10 of a second for the other person to text them back.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I love is on TV shows and movies when they have like the bubbles that pop up and you can see what people are texting, the sounds that it makes, like when your text comes in on screen. Apple has me conditioned so hard that when I see like a character receiving a text on screen and I see the bubble, I get like a momentary, like, was the serotonin or endorphin?
Yeah.
I get like a little hit from that.
I've actually liked how some new shows and I guess, movies have incorporated technology into storylines because, I don't think there's a lot of people who can create scenarios that don't include cell phones anymore. Like, let's say like there's a lot of stuff that's changed because of cell phones that we just don't think about. Like, I think all of us have become less cognizant to like being at one place, being at one time to meet at the exact same moment because, we can just text someone. Like if we don't meet up at this exact location at this exact time, like it's no big deal. Like we'll just text.
To that point, there's this dude, and y'all probably don't maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you might relate to this, but PFT definitely did. Remember when we was growing up, like the first thing we wanted to do was like drive. Like that was like a big thing. Like we wanted to like drive. We wanted to get our driver's license and we wanted to get our L's. We called them the L's. We wanted to get L's and we wanted to push. Like kids nowadays, they don't give a shit about driving really like that. They don't really care. Like my nephew's 18 and he was like, I mean, I guess it's about that time or whatever. But like nobody like my daughter's 13. She isn't like super interested in driving. I was like, hey, we can take you to this empty parking lot. We can drive. She's like, I don't really want to. And I'm like, what? Like I couldn't wait to hop behind the wheel. And there was a dude that he was like, I think the reason is like they're not really missing anything. When we was growing up, like your car was like the gateway to like go to your friends. It was able to go get some food, to go do this and do that. But you got Uber Eats. Your friends are constantly at the palm of your fingertips, so you don't really miss going to see them. So there's no really real reason to want to venture out. And so like driving to them is like, I mean, why would I even want to drive? Like, it makes no sense. And that as a perfect explanation. But that's to your point, Billy.
Yeah, like you get your. I remember my friend Will from Hard Factor. He was the first one of our group of friends that got their license. And I remember when he got it, he pulled up into my driveway. He's like, you want to go get Slurpees? I got a car. And that fucking rocked. And I'm telling you, we went like every day. We went out for Slurpees. We were blasting our CD that we had in the car that you like hooked up to the stereo with that little fake cassette thing. Man, we were driving around like kings, running basic errands for our family. Like we'd be like, oh, I got to go to the grocery store and get some milk for my dad. Cool, I can pick you up.
Yeah. I see you like you go to the mall, you go hang out, go searching for the ladies, like that type of shit. But now you just swipe and it's right there. It's like, yeah, it makes sense why they don't want to drive.
Yeah, you could just sneak out of your house and Uber if you didn't know how to drive. Yeah. Nowadays.
How much longer are malls gonna exist?
They're slowly but surely going away.
The thing is, that's why you're seeing a lot more of experience-based stores popping up in malls. So like you'll see the escape rooms, the 3D, the whatchamacallit, simulated reality stuff. Like there's more experience-based, like go to the mall to experience.
I always feel that way, Arian, but then like, you know, I live around 3 major malls and they're always crowded. Every time I go, they're packed. So I just don't, like, I always feel that way that they're going to go extinct eventually because like the internet and Amazon and everything just like keeps growing and it's just faster to order online. But I don't know. I just see a million people at malls every time I go.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be like a central, like movies. The fact that movies are still a thing is I think it's us saying we do want some social interaction, right? And I think malls are kind of like that. But like I think Billy's made a great point where it's like they're going to start changing. It's not necessarily going to be like, because a lot of department stores are going out of business and stuff like that because it's just so easy to order online. Yeah. And so I think it's going to start changing more stuff like that, experience-based gathering places.
Yeah, Walmart won't exist. Like Walmart, Costco will probably all go online. But I actually read a whole report on this in college. But like we're moving towards like brick and mortar. Those Walmarts and Costco's will probably just become distribution centers.
Yeah, we can't get rid of food courts. That's important that we establish that.
Well, a lot of what's keeping malls alive is that young people still want to get away from their nuclear families.
Yeah, that's so. I was about to say, I think that kids are always going to need a place to go like make out for the first time.
Yeah.
And that I think has a lot to do with why malls will always exist. It's like you want to go see a movie, you want to watch a mall. That was code for boys and girls going to meet up, make out.
Yeah.
I was a make out king in middle school.
Jeez.
Sorry. I was. I think I've talked about this before. I hit my dating peak in like 8th grade, 7th grade. I had a new date every weekend.
Hey,
my parents were sick of me.
PFT, was that when you had
a different girl calling my house, talking on the phone to me for like 2 hours about nothing?
How long have you been 5'9"?
My entire life.
Since what grade?
No, I wasn't tall, if that's what you're asking, in middle school. I was like normal size like I am now in middle school.
I always find there's always these stories of
you guys talk about 5'9", by the way, like I'm a freak.
No, but it's like it's interesting that all like the short like guys grow faster, but then they stop there.
No, I was not that. I was
Because
not.
there's a lot. I don't know. I was reading an article about how about a bunch of guys who grew early in middle school and they were really good at football back then, but then in high school they just couldn't make the transition because they didn't grow.
Yeah.
But then all these kids who were shitty in middle school got good.
Yeah, because you get bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I if you want to call it a growth spurt, I think I just grew normally and just never hit the growth spurt.
But it's funny because I was thinking that was like you not
I was big man on campus.
big man on campus in middle school.
In middle school, I was 5'9", walking around. All the
be like,
honeys.
"Sup?"
Yeah. There was so the problem with my hometown in football was they did it by weight classes. So you had a bunch of kids that were playing offensive line, defensive line, that were just the same height and weight as everybody else they were playing against. So by the time you got to high school, we had a bunch of kids that were like 5'7", 120 pounds that were like, well, I only know how to play offensive line because that's what they've been doing.
But we had similar rules, but you had a weight limit for like only heavier people could be on the line.
Yeah, see, that makes more sense.
So they would have like older lighters. There was like older lighters, and there's people who had to. What was it? It was age range and weight range. But like for example, someone who's like 250, like someone who's like 200 pounds in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Like if they could either play up. Or no, wait. Let's say you're in 6th grade and you're like 180 pounds, and you could either be a younger, heavier, and play up, or you had to play on the line.
Yeah.
Like if you were a skill player, you had to play up. So it was a good system.
It makes sense. We were talking about like websites a second ago. Have you guys ever seen the fake websites that they used to have on Law and Order?
Mm-mm.
So Law and Order SVU especially has a bunch of different episodes where they like talk about a different subculture of people online or whatever. And so they always bring up the website that they're talking about, but they're all fake versions of whatever that website is. And they come up with different names for them that are so corny. And so I've pulled a few aside here. Some of the best fake websites that they used on Law and Order. Their version of Facebook was called Face Union. They had Another Universe, YOU universe, and that was their version of Second Life, where you could build your own character. They had.
Do they have to get rights in order to use the name Facebook?
Yeah. So they just build their own versions of them. There's
silly.
There's one that's their version of Ashley Madison, which is the website for having an affair. This one is called The Swing Set. I like that.
That's actually better than Ashley Madison. Honestly.
My Site was MySpace. Their version of YouTube was just called video.com. They just mailed that one in. And then their version of InfoWars was called Link Free or Die.
Oh, that's so much better.
Yeah, Link Free or Die is actually.
Does that exist? Because we should make that.
Let's look it up.
Videos.com just goes to Disney. Movies.disney.com.
Let's look up Link Free or Die because we should get that for macrodosing.
Linkfreeordie.com. Someone had to buy these URLs.
I'm waiting on our dog shit internet.
All of our URLs expired that I bought.
Do we have a website?
No.
Barstoolsports.com.
Wait, what do you mean, Billy?
Like, No Way Jose. You know that I used to use the Google links to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Link
appears
Free
Link
Die.
Free or Die won't take you to anything.
Well, we gotta buy Link Free or Die then.
Let's go on Google website. Should I get it? Google domains. I still have an account.
The Rack Menagerie was a porn website on SVU dedicated to girl-on-girl action and wet T-shirt contests.
Well,
The Rack Menagerie.
domains.google. Search for linkfreeordie.com. Get it.
Vampire Sacrifice. Vampire spelled Vampyre, Sacrifice, was an underground vampire club where worshippers of the undead congregate, drink blood, and have sex. SVU rocks.
SVU
Yeah.
does rock.
I love it.
Linkfreeordie.com is taken, .net is taken, .org is taken, but .us is not.
There we go. Linkfree.com. Linkfree.us.
Linkfreeordie.us.
Okay. Let's get it. How much?
Get $12 a year. It's really not that bad.
Yeah. Done.
Okay, buying it.
That's the new home for all the macrodosing links.
Okay.
Link free or
I like that.
Okay,
.us.
go to cart
I like it.
$12. I can. It's hooked up to my account. I already do it.
Okay, just expense it.
Okay.
Easy.
I got 5 on it.
That's easy money to spend right there. Yeah, SVU is an all-time great show. All the Law and Orders are good, but SVU, nothing like taking a sick day, staying home from school. SVU marathons on. Boom.
You know, another one, To Catch a Predator.
Yeah,
That was a good one too.
I always felt like it was tough to watch because you saw people just destroying their lives. You saw a moment where like somebody, for the most part, they knew that they fucked up big time. Their whole life was gone.
Yeah, but like they should be in prison.
Yes.
So
They deserve it. But there's something about like the whole process that you're watching. It's just, I don't know, it was just uncomfortable.
Avery, you were the one who told me why that show ended the other day. Was that you?
I don't think so.
Oh, someone.
Are you talking about To Catch a Predator?
Yeah. Was it you that told me?
No, I heard the conversation. I think it was Jack.
Oh.
Somebody offed themselves, right?
Yeah.
Was the person actually
Right there?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
and he was a politician of some sort.
Yeah, was he guilty?
He was a DA. I think the story was he was a
Yeah,
DA
he was
in Texas.
he was a district
And-
attorney, and he showed up, realized what it was, pulled out a gun, shot himself.
And then they had to cancel it because the police technically are supposed to prevent a suspect from harming themselves. That's part of the deal.
Well, no, it was that. I mean, the show was the police already knew that they were, but they let the show go on, and then they arrested the people,
Yeah.
and they were. That's technically like not what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
If you have a suspect that you know has committed a crime, you're supposed to arrest them.
It was more of a TV show.
Well,
Right.
Well, don't they have to show that it was them? They have to show that
But I mean, they already knew all that.
don't you have to show like intent and all that stuff? Like I forgot.
So
Like,
yeah, there were like things that they would have to check off the list in the chat because it was a company that they would subcontract out to. I think it was Perverted Justice, right? The people that would engage them in chat rooms,
Something like that.
and
yeah.
then they would have like a female detective that would be a voice actor to sound like she was 12 years old, 13 years old, or whatever. And there were like things that they had to check off, I think, in those chats to make sure that intent was there. I think that's why that's why they would ask them to bring certain things with them. They'd be like, can you bring a 6-pack of Mike's Hard Lemonade and a pack of condoms? And so then if the person showed up with that, then I think that showed intent of what they were going to do. And trust me,
Yeah.
I'm glad that they arrested a bunch of people, but for whatever reason, it felt like it's a good show to watch, but it just felt like, I don't know, like slimy, just the entire operation on all ends of it. That
yeah, I was okay with watching it. I don't know. I don't really have a lot of remorse. It was, I don't know, I got pleasure out of watching it. I don't know.
There's a lot of
I like watching the niggas go down. I don't know.
yeah. Well, there's a bunch of dudes on TikTok doing it now, and I don't know how well they vet these guys, but like people just show up to like a Walmart, like trying to meet like a young person, and then these guys just bombard the person, and like Chris Hansen like sat him down and like was cordial with him. These guys just start like embarrassing the
Yeah, it's like a
fuck
thing
out
on
of them.
TikTok now.
oh yeah,
And like it's brutal. And then some guys like try to run out, they jump their car, and like some of them crash their car into the side of the Walmart because they're getting chased. It's wild.
damn, I gotta check that out.
What's our someone text me the link tree. It's gonna be up.
Here, I want to text
The first house that they did To Catch a Predator at was around the corner from my buddy Pat's house in Herndon. So there would be people like when they were on shooting days, we just knew that there would be perverts pulling up to this house all
What
the
the
time.
fuck?
That's
What
crazy.
Yeah.
What if you didn't know and you just walk up and knock on the door and be like, "Hey, what you guys doing here?" And then it's like, "Are you the pedophile?"
Yeah, then
And you're
yeah.
you're like, "What?"
Yeah,
No, they usually have pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, that whole, I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm uncomfortable with like watching people like hit on what they think are 14-year-olds and then they show up and the whole and then they don't know what to do when Chris Hansen's like, have a seat. And then they try to like lie. I that might be part of it too. I get uncomfortable when I watch people lying on like when they get caught doing something on TV.
The ones that you do like
That's the fun part. That's the first to
No, but
see
some
them
of
to
them-
try to weasel out of this shit is fucking. Like one time, I remember one dude said, he's like, he pulls up the whole resume and he's like, well, what did you say this for? And he goes, just because I say it on the internet doesn't mean that's what I am in real life. I'm like, all right, dog.
No, but the ones you kind of feel bad for are, well, because the ones that are like definitely like a little special.
Yeah.
on the spectrum.
No, there were a few guys on there that were slower.
Yeah, it's just like, that guy.
They're not slow enough to know it's wrong. They know it's wrong, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still tough.
Nah, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. I'm sorry.
No, but sometimes you're like, is that guy like not mental? Like, could he stand trial with that IQ?
Yeah.
That
And if they hadn't done it before, I don't know. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm putting on a cape for these guys.
I'm not. No, kill
You
them
do
all.
like a
Shoot 'em.
tiny bit, like a little bit.
I just feel
Small
uncomfortable.
cape.
I feel uncomfortable watching it. That's all.
Small cape.
Only for like the ones that are like literally you can tell they're
And if they've never done
autistic.
it before.
no,
there's
no,
no-
that I don't care about. If you like, because no, fuck that. But like if it's like this guy got duped into this situation,
There's no-
'cause he's-
That's what I'm
there's
saying.
no-
There's no
But
background,
no, bro.
and they get tricked into showing up.
Yeah, bro. If you're autonomous and you're out here in the world and you have like a mental condition like that, you know right from wrong. You're not giving them enough credit for their intellect. They might not be able to do super algebraic equations, but they know that's wrong. They know what they're doing is wrong.
I guess
y'all
what-
are giving them way too much credit.
If you have a mental handicap and like people don't ever talk to you, and then somebody messages you in a chat room and convinces you to come meet them and hang out, I'm not saying it's right for the person to do it. I'm just saying that probably would not have happened had they not been contacted by somebody who is trying to get them to do that.
Now, hang on. I don't know this for a fact. I could be wrong. The cops were reaching out to these people first.
In the chat
That seems unlikely.
I don't remember that being the case. It could be the case, but what from my recollection, I think what it was they were in like young people chat rooms. Like, so they were in like, 14-year-old chat rooms, shit like that. 13-year-old chat rooms. And they were just talking, and I think that's how it started. I don't think they were like, hey, I'm young, you old, like what's happening? I don't think that's how it went down. But if it did, there is some wrong that is attributed to the police, right? But still, bruh, it's just not hard to be like, no, fam, you're young.
do you want?
It's just not hard.
Should we buy macrodosing.net while we're here?
Sure, how much?
$12.
Yeah.
What about .org?
Nah, fuck it.
I like .net.
.net. Okay.
.net's good.
I'm getting
It's
it.
the bad boys. We're too bad for .com.
Yep.
Yep. I'm buying it.
What's on macrodosing.com? Do I want to know?
Let's check right now.
Probably mushrooms.
Is that like a dark web thing?
Link for your die.
Change your entire outlook. The movement. Oh, it's a psychedelic trip service.
Oh, nice. Feel great 2 days from now.
Love that.
I don't know who bought this.
How long until linkfreeorDie.us works?
Try it right now.
I did.
Wow. They made macrodosing.com in 2021. So it's like,
Oh, that's bullshit.
this is new. They knew they had competition. This is kind of bullshit. Yeah.
There's nothing on it. It just says change your entire outlook. Feel great 2 days from now.
And some
I don't wanna feel
random
great.
woman doing a yoga pose.
I don't want to feel great 2 days from now. I want to feel great now.
Yeah, there's like nothing.
.com.
Contact us.
Let's see if Link for Your Die works right now.
Link for your die.
Oh, not .com. .us.
.us does not work yet.
Okay, well I'm working on it.
Hop on that, Billy.
Wait, linkfreeordie.us.
My blogs. I really think they bought this to sell to us. I really think that's what happened.
Yeah, I have.
This is not this is not a fucking real website, dog.
You know what's fucked up? I saw there was a Billy Football Instagram, which is like owned by a young kid who definitely hasn't been using the Instagram. And all the comments are from random dudes trying to buy that Instagram. Like, DM me, I want to buy this account from you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I thought was going to be my get rich quick scheme in high school for a little while?
What?
Some colleges will use the same Twitter, not the same but the same format for like all of their coaches. So like Stanford could be like at Stanford Coach X,
Yeah.
whatever. And then the school owns those accounts and then they give them out to whoever. So for a while, I would try to see what schools did that. And then if they fired their coach, I would try to see who they were going to hire and try to squat on those Twitter ats. It never worked. I never got one right, but it could have.
Yeah, it could have. And then you would have been like, pay up.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a rival school.
I'm sure they would have just changed it, but I was very convinced that was going to work for a while.
Well, you can figure out what coaches' email addresses are.
Yeah, I think those are public.
Well, some of them are public, and then other times you can just look at the formula
Right.
for what other people at that school use and then just use that. So if it's like first initial, last name at stanford.edu, then you can
still
figure
remember
out.
my college email.
I still use my college.
I know what
A
mine is.
Foster at was it
utk.edu.
Vols.utk.edu.
Oh, they changed it. It wasn't. It was UTK.edu.
Oh, the vols.utk.edu was students, and then there's like faculty.utk.edu and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, they changed.
Oh, you know what that
No,
bar-
I was A Foster 3, I think.
I was CNAP 2, which is my favorite number.
Okay, so those links should work in 2 at most 48 hours. I said.
okay, cool, good to know. That's when I was in sales. That's how I would also figure out how to email important people at certain companies, at like big Fortune 500 companies. You just get that formula, and then you get their entire C-suite. Boom, you just got emailed by PFT. Thank you for your business.
That's what people do to like email us here. Like I've had issues with that.
You've got emails?
I get more than emails, but people have cracked the code here.
People,
It's not that
You get
hard.
Unsolicited.
We probably
You get
shouldn't say
unsolicited,
that.
Mad
But
Dog?
Should I not say that? I didn't say. What
no,
my
I'm
email
just
was.
anyone who like. I mean, there are people here who have their email addresses like in their Twitter bios,
Yeah.
That's
and if
also
you just
true.
look at that, you can figure out pretty much everybody's.
Yeah, but I
Hold
know.
on. Why don't I got a Barstool email? What the fuck?
Do you want one?
Yeah, I want one.
all right, we'll get you one.
We can get you that.
Fino at
I wanna-
barstoolsports.com.
Ooh, it could be. Yeah. that
Bobby
might be-
Fino?
Yeah. I think
We
I
got to
like
get
that.
you on the blog.
Yeah, you want a blog?
I've never blogged. No.
Would you like to?
We talked about it lightly when Coley was the dude that did that. But I never did it.
We got Leonard Fournette
What?
on the blog. We could get you on the blog.
What was it that you're very passionate
what-
about recently that you
Valorant.
could totally blog?
Valorant.
The new face of Barstool Game Time,
Yeah.
Arian Foster.
Had rock.
Yeah, Aaron, what would you want to write about?
I don't know. I could pick a topic. I don't know. I'm pretty nice with the pen.
We'll get you a we'll get you a blog login. And
How long is it?
It can be
long do they
anywhere
have to be?
from 10 to 5,000 words.
Oh, that sounds like work, though.
No.
I
10.
said anywhere
10.
from 10.
Oh, 10.
I mean, I've seen blogs that are one sentence.
I thought you meant 10,000.
No.
Oh, that sounds like work, though.
no, you could just type out, like, if you see a funny tweet and you want to talk about it or a funny video, you just write 2 sentences about why it's funny to you, and then boom, here's the video.
I would say most
And they-
blogs are 200 words.
Then you just tweet it.
And they get a lot of traffic.
Yep.
Sometimes,
That's
yeah.
Sometimes, like one time, Lamar Jackson, who was a cornerback on the Jets, got released, and I blogged, Lamar Jackson released, and just put a very generic football photo. Highest traffic blog, because I think at the time, who else got released? And it was kind of believable. Cam Newton, I think. Or no, it was Deshaun Watson. Everyone was like, what? And they were like, what, Lamar Jackson? And sometimes you just trick people into clicking. It's awesome.
Yep.
But then they're like, oh, he got me.
Other times, people click on blogs with truthful headlines too.
From time to time.
You could do quality blogs.
Billy has also, if you're interested, Arian, and you think that maybe your blog doesn't have enough words in it, you can just do what Billy does and go to ChatGPT and then ask an AI service to just write your entire blog for
I
you.
did that for 2 blogs, and ChatGPT
Yeah.
has been down for the past 2 months.
Is it still
Wow.
For the
down?
past, yeah, it's Microsoft just bought it. I think they're just looking over the code right now. But it's there's too much traffic.
Because I looked it up last week. Because I asked ChatGPT to write me a punk song, and then it gave me a chord progression. It told me like the robot
was it?
wrote a song.
What was the corporate?
It was
When was it?
It was C D. No, sorry, it was G D C D G D C.
Pretty poppy.
Yeah, very poppy. So
Yeah.
that would sound.
Ooh, you should ask it to write a jazz chord progression. Then I'd be impressed.
This is the song that a robot wrote.
This sounds like a Disney Channel theme song.
This is terrifying.
Robot wrote that song.
What's the Madeline?
Yes.
There was a show that it was like dun dun
What a-
dun dun dun
what a
dun,
flex,
dun,
though,
dun,
right?
dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
I see you,
dun,
PFT.
dun,
Well,
dun,
this-
dun. What is that song?
Power chords.
Dun, dun,
I mean,
dun.
not everybody.
Life
I could've
with
done that,
Derek.
but, like not everybody could just. You know,
Has anybody
let me show you what the
developed
robot
you?
wrote.
Life with Derek. That was the Life with Derek theme song.
It
That's
was
what that
Life with
was.
I was
They
trying.
wanted to fuck in that show.
What?
I'm sorry. What?
What?
The stepbrother and stepsister wanted to fuck.
That was aggressive language there.
I think
That came out of
you may
nowhere.
have been, you may have been
Sorry.
projecting.
Did anybody?
What?
Has anybody made like a porn parody of that? What was the name of the show?
Life with Derek.
Life with
They
Derek.
dated in real life.
Really?
That's weird.
Turns out they did that a lot to to drum up publicity. Like for example, I don't think Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens were ever like actually dating.
Yeah, it's like a publicity stunt. Haven't you ever heard of like a
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of weird. It's like you guys have to like date.
I'm pretty sure that's why, like Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
Yeah, it's still.
There was a lot of discussion of whether or not they were dating right when Star is Born came out.
And then he was like, "Well, I'm with Arena Shayk." And
Well,
now
didn't
they're not.
didn't they get divorced
Yes.
right after because there was
Yeah.
a rumor that they were actually hooking up?
Mhm.
Oh,
During
really?
the
See,
movie?
I'm going through it right now. I want Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga to have been dating.
No, like they were like hooking up during the movie, and Irina Shayk found out, and then that's why they
I
divorced.
mean, the chemistry was undeniable.
You saw that Oscars performance.
Yeah. How would you feel if you were one of their significant others while they were performing, sitting next to each other on the piano bench, like gazing longingly into each other's eyes? Sorry, they're good
Well, you
actors.
know-
They're not that good.
Irina, yeah, she's a model. She doesn't understand.
Yeah, she doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Arian, did they ever ask? Like, did you ever have a publicist that asked you to be in like a fake relationship?
Nah, I wasn't that famous, dog.
I don't
Like
know.
I was moderately recognizable. I wasn't famous.
I'd
Did
be
you-
sick.
Did you ever date anybody famous?
I didn't date anybody famous, but I met up with people that were famous.
Oh yeah, I think we've asked him this before, and he wouldn't tell us.
Yeah, I'm a gentleman. I don't kiss and tell.
What about other things and tell? You didn't have to kiss her.
That was
Bonk.
Leave
implied.
alone.
That was implied.
I just want to know. Would I know this person?
Yeah,
Would I?
yeah.
If you had to
Damn it.
give a list, like A list, B list, C list celebrity,
All right, probably a B.
More famous than
Piercing.
who our celebrity mashup was last night on the dozen?
I'm fucking more famous than that guy. What the fuck?
well, you're
Who
pretty
was it?
famous.
Who
I
was
was
it?
gonna say I'm more famous than that guy.
Who is
That,
that? guy?
I still don't know his name. Don't remember his name. What's his name?
Zachary
He played
Levi.
Kurt Warner.
It's the guy who played Kurt Warner. And
Also,
Chuck.
it didn't even look like that guy. I saw that movie and I didn't recognize the picture they used of him.
He could have been any white guy
Spoiler.
ever that's in his, late to early, late 40s.
Yo, he was in Shazam and Alvin and the Chipmunks. Are you kidding me? You don't know
Oh,
this guy?
Blockbusters.
What's his name?
Zachary Levi.
Really? No, so there's no way you know that. Like, could you know his outline of his head?
It,
Like, you know what I'm saying?
it
Like,
was
celebrity
shocking.
mashups should be like notable people, but also like notable features. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it was, and then theirs
Was
this
so
ain't a
easy.
spoiler. Bruh, it was, what was it?
Daniel Radcliffe and Jeremy Renner.
Oh,
Like,
that's
come on,
I mean, I knew it in a
everybody
tenth of a second.
everybody did, but theirs was like, and they had some questionable ass like.
We
I don't
got
know,
killed.
man. It
We
was-
got killed, so we can't
Spoiler
say.
alert.
But
yeah.
well,
Wait,
it's
when does it come out?
tonight, so it'll be
Like-
out. The
Yeah,
first
yeah.
like 5 questions, the difficulties were insane. The MLB one was it was a pitcher and it gave the teams that they've played on, and ours was Gio Gonzalez, which a fairly notable guy, I guess. Theirs was Ubaldo Jimenez, a guy who did he throw a perfect game or a no-hitter?
I don't know.
I forget. I know it was a no-hitter. It may have been a perfect game, Like one of the most recognizable pitchers of the last 15 years.
No hitter.
And
Then our NFL question was some wide receiver that got 800 yards on the Raiders in 2009 or 10.
Oh, wait. Let me see if I can do this.
I don't even remember his name. It was like
I don't remember his name.
Wide receiver on the Raiders got 800 yards in 2009.
but the
Like 9
key
or
part was
10.
that was like more than half of his career receiving yards.
Okay.
I forget what his name is. Do you remember?
No, I remember what theirs was though. The
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
2009
Oh, I remember his last name now.
Raiders.
Wait,
I don't know.
was it?
His last who?
No, I'm totally mixed up.
His last name was Streeter. I forget his
Oh,
first
okay.
name.
Jace Jared Streeter or something.
Something like that. Yeah, and I don't
I've
know
never heard of him.
buddy. I never
That's a
saw
hard
him play
question.
football.
Oh, Rod Streeter.
Yeah.
Rod Streeter.
Yep.
And then theirs was the same question. Dude had 800 yards, but it was on AFC. It was in the AFC
South.
AFC South. It was Mike Sims Walker. Mike Sims Walker is like way more notable than I've never even heard of that guy. Like, and I played during the same time, so I don't know, man. It shit seems stacked, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I did get my niche though.
If the celebrity mashups were switched, we doubled that, so we would have had 2 more. It's an entirely different game.
Yep,
That's on me. I'm sorry.
fact. That is a fact. No. Hell no. I don't even know who
We
that.
got
that
lost
was-
either
never
way, but
What's your niche?
Never seen.
Aaron?
We did
It was
Valorant
Valorant.
this time.
That was bro. That's not an easy question. You have to know the lore behind all the characters. It had nothing to do with the game. Like they're lucky I nerded out with that fucking game, but like it was about the lore behind the game. It had nothing to do with the actual game. It was tough, man.
Anyways,
I think
that's our
the cards
dozen
are
rant.
stacked against Macro. Yeah, the cards are stacked against the Macrodosing squad. I'm just saying.
Jeff
man.
is a questionable commissioner at best. I've been through this with Jeff. He's
yeah,
a tyrant.
I'm with that.
It's hard to talk shit when we got killed, but like the first 5 questions were crazy.
Okay, I'll have to watch it.
we got a bit hosed.
I'll watch it back.
Yeah, we got what we got.
But we
one.
did get killed. Credit to Frank and the Frankettes.
Yes.
Before we
No,
get,
no credit.
they're a
to
good
them.
team.
No,
They're a very
fuck-
good team.
Fuck them. Fuck them.
Before we get into Fyre Fest stuff, there's a book that I was considering assigning somebody to read and discuss.
I'm reading a good book right now that I was thinking we should all discuss too. So it might be the same one.
What is it?
Brave New World
I've heard that's
No,
really good
that's not
actually.
the
by
book.
Aldous Huxley.
I've actually heard that's good. What's yours?
It's going to be the Prince Harry book.
Oh, actually, I can get you a very like a whole. I actually kind of have heard about I've read the book secondhand.
Oh my fucking god.
Okay.
I'll read it.
Billy, you're so weird. You want to read it?
I'll read it.
Okay.
What do you want me to do?
We should
Do you
just
want me to book club?
have you discuss it. Well, yeah, we'll do book
What do
club. The Mad Dog Book Club, where you're going to read it and you'll
Okay.
guide us through the big points of the book, and we'll just not read it and we'll hear your report on it. How's that sound to everybody?
Okay.
I like
Perfect.
that.
Okay.
So
Sounds like the best way to consume Prince Harry content.
Okay.
I'm so excited. So you want me to read the book and then just like report back?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Give a book report for the class.
Okay.
That's how I wish every book report was ever. Someone else do the reading and then just tell us.
Yeah, and then we can discuss the book,
Yep.
having
Love
never
that.
read it.
Can I give a biased opinion on it?
Yeah, I mean, give your own opinion.
Fuck yeah.
We'll sniff out your bias.
I'm
What do you
ordering-
mean you read it secondhand? What does that mean?
My mom read it and she just talks to me about it.
Okay.
Billy has talked to upwards of 1, maybe 2 people who have read the book and had lengthy conversations regarding it. People have strong opinions about this book.
What my
I know,
mom
I'm
said was that all of the sound bites we've heard in the news have been vastly overshared by maybe even royal family, like
Aligned media.
like people trying to
Mm-hmm.
disprove his book. So some of them that you may have heard is that he bragged about killing Taliban
Yeah.
individuals in Afghanistan. He also, may have gotten there was something wrong with his dick. It may have been a venereal disease, but he claims it was frostbite.
He got frostbite on his dick.
And then he put like his mom's perfume on it or something.
See,
Right?
I don't
See,
know.
that's like
I
that sounds
gotta read
like
it.
a royalist media thing that PFT.
There was
PFT
it
just
wasn't
stuck.
perfume, but there was some sort of substance that they were like, hey, if you put this on your dick, it'll fix it. And he was like, my mom used this, so it smelled like my mom.
Yeah, so it's
And then
probably
I-
just like Vaseline.
No, it was
I'll
something.
get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, get to the bottom of all this. He had frostbite on his dick on his brother's wedding day.
Yes, that's confirmed.
Yeah. So when he's walking Pippa down the aisle, whatever happened to Pippa?
She's a mother for 3 children, I think.
Good for her. Pippa was real hot in the streets. That
Really
was
hot.
so funny how the world went nuts over Pippa's butt on was it Prince William's wedding day? Pippa's butt was like all over all the British tabloids for weeks. And then I remember seeing her butt and I was like, that's just a small butt. But the British people were like, they'd never seen a butt like that before.
But you know what? That kind of sucked for Kate because like your whole like you never isn't that a trope that you never want your sister ruining your wedding day
Yeah.
with looking
That is a
hot?
trope.
Pippa upstaged her big time.
Yeah. So like, why'd they do that to poor Kate?
I don't blame Pippa at all. It was the horny British press.
Oh well, she was holding the.
The horny British press saw the outline of what might be a butt, and they're like, "Oh dear God, look at this enormous."
Think about how many blokes were at the pub being, "Oi, see Peppa?
Oh yeah, she was getting chatted up proper.
We'll show you."
Yeah, she was getting well chatted.
Oof.
Some proper banter. But yeah, if you look at Pippa's butt, she's actually like, it's not a huge butt.
She's a gorgeous woman. Her and Kate are.
It's wild because I have like absolutely zero idea who and what y'all are talking about. But when you say Pippa, I think Peppa.
Yeah,
And the only Peppa I know is Peppa Pig, and I'm like, y'all trying to say Peppa Pig is thick? It's weird, dog.
The worst thing is there probably is Peppa Pig smut out there.
What is it? Rule
by some
34.
Sick fuck. Yeah.
What's that?
If something exists, there's porn about it.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah. Or like some pornographic explicit materials or like fan fiction.
I feel like if you search Peppa Pig porn, you get put on a list.
Yeah.
That should be illegal too. I don't know if that's expressly illegal,
Yeah.
but that should also be illegal.
Yep.
Peppa Pig
Peppa
porn?
Pig porn?
Yeah.
with that.
Davos, World Economic Forum's taking place.
Yeah, Davos is one of those things that sounds sinister, but Billy talks about it a lot, and so I'm not sure how into the conspiracy theories Billy's allowed himself to become about the World Economic Forum.
Just missing 2 major dudes, Klaus Schwab and George Soros. Didn't make the gathering, didn't make the trip.
Okay. Is that good or bad?
I think it's a PR stunt.
Okay.
I'm really excited about this episode, Fyre Fest.
Yeah. We'll talk about, let's get to Fyre Fest in a second. I want Billy in 1 minute or less to tell me why I should be worried about the World Economic Forum.
Oh boy.
And it can't be any lies.
Literally, they had an ad. They literally had an ad. Big T already referenced it this episode. You'll own nothing and be happy.
I referenced that.
PFT did it.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Did you know that was a World Economic Forum ad?
I don't think it was an ad for the World Economic Forum, but it was in their marketing materials, and the person said like, "I own nothing and I'm happy." There was one person that said that.
The Great Reset World Economic Forum YouTube. It's just, I don't know. Do you feel like
No, I'm saying that it existed, but let's label it what it was. There was a character in a video that they put out who at one point in the video said, "I own nothing and I'm happy."
No,
That's
I
true.
will back Billy up. That may be true, but it was also true. They said you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Okay, I didn't see that part.
Because it was in a whole affidavit about by 2050 we're gonna have no cars. You're gonna own 10 pieces of clothing. We're gonna have no meat. All this stuff.
you'll be
Sounds
in a
amazing.
prison that you don't even know is a prison?
There will be no individual ownership of homes.
It's just
Oh, sign me the fuck up. Let's go. Where is this?
Everywhere.
yeah, but you're gonna have to pay rent on it.
Let's fucking go.
You just want to rent?
Do you own anything?
Let me think.
You own your dog.
I do own my dog,
Wow.
but he owns
weird.
nothing.
Whitey would not be happy to hear you say that.
Don't tell him. Don't red pill him, PFT.
Owning property is great in this society and it's all good as shit, but it's like once you realize, and you're a nihilist, you have to be a nihilist, but once you realize that you don't own shit, you don't own anything.
The phrase was from a video entitled 8 Predictions for the World in 2030. And somebody said, I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. And then that seems that it was changed into own nothing and be happy. And then that got changed into the World Economic Forum telling everybody you will own nothing and be happy. But I'm not finding any evidence the World Economic Forum actually ever said you will own nothing. And be
I think
happy.
the first thing you said's worse.
Yeah, so that was what somebody in...
I have nothing, I have no privacy, and I am happy?
Right,
We've probably been misquoting it, but
that was a,
do we
it was,
really
a, it was
believe...
a character in a video that said it wasn't Klaus Schwab telling you this is what's going to happen.
But that
But
thing
come on,
was
it
from
reflects-
the World Economic Forum, correct?
Let's just...
Welcome to the year 2030. Welcome to my city, or should I say our city. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or clothes. It might seem odd to you, but makes perfect sense for us in this city. Everything you consider a product has now become a service. We have access to transportation, accommodation, food, and all the things we need in our daily lives. One by one, all these things became free, so it ended up not making sense for us to own much. First, communication became digitized and free. Then, when clean energy became free, things started to move quickly. Transportation dropped dramatically in price. We started transporting ourselves in a much more organized and coordinated way. Public transportation became quicker, easier, and more convenient forever. Now I can hardly believe that we accepted congestion and traffic jams, not to mention the air pollution from combustion engines. What were they thinking? And so it goes on, and that sort of thing. In our city, we don't pay any rent because someone else is using our free space whenever we do not need it. My living room is used for business meetings when I am not there. Again, this sounds like a pretty
forcibly sterilized.
It sounds like a pretty shitty life, but this was a script from a video that they had. When
It's not
AI and
far
robots took over so much of our work, we suddenly had time to eat well, sleep well, and spend time with other people. So again, sounds pretty shitty.
Wait, so they also threw in there that nobody has a job. All the jobs are gone.
I think most of the jobs took over a lot of work, which is happening.
Most of the AI.
Undeniably, that's happening.
Yeah, but not like that.
And
Not
that
like,
was
oh, all the
2000.
robots do our jobs now, but we don't need money, so it's okay.
Right.
Now we don't need people.
This sounds amazing. This sounds so good. Oh my god.
Wait,
I'm in.
like whenever you leave your house, somebody comes in and has a business meeting in it, Arian?
Do your thing, bro. Do your thing. Whatever.
You're opening up
It's
your
a-
house
that-
for
There's no.
Your
It sounds
house is
like
a WeWork,
crime is
local entrepreneurs.
exponentially. It sounds like crime is exponentially reduced because everybody's basic needs are met. So why are you stealing if you have everything you need? That
I don't
sounds
think- I don't think
amazing.
Pedophilia's needs will be met, and there still will be random people in your house, and that's not a vibe you want around your family.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, I don't know. It sounds like the very start of Star Trek, and I'm in. Take me there.
So-
This shit's trash.
All right, so Billy, I will acknowledge that this thing that they wrote is fucking weird.
If you,
it's not gonna. All this stuff is obviously not going to happen in 7 years.
Unfortunately, I've probably read too much stuff that I probably, if you looked into it, especially, and honestly, something that you would agree with.
I'm
is
just
that
curious because
they-
I don't know anything about the World Economic Forum.
There's think tanks in those that fund economic studies that are very unethical.
Okay.
And if they're willing to do those unethical things to various places, especially third world countries,
What kind of things?
micro loan distribution to certain individuals, but not all individuals, just to see how it impacts. So, in like, for example, the classic
you
one,
mentioned this.
the one study that I read and like have a background in just from school is that like they basically gave one tribe in Kenya a ton of money to see how that would impact the surrounding tribes, like money in the form of resources, cattle, livestock, and other things, pure
You know
water.
what the study's called?
I'll look it up right now. I don't have it at my fingertips.
Apparently,
But
there was another video that said predictions about 2030, including you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. So maybe they did say it at one point. I'm looking up another source right now.
Plot twist.
Plot
twist.
basically-
We find a way. We find a way to communicate with the supernatural, and it's somebody reporting from heaven,
So-
and that's what they say.
So it was written
You
by
own nothing, and you're happy.
Ida Auken, as a Danish politician, and they wrote the prediction in question, and they said it was not a utopia or a dream of the future when I wrote that line. it was a scenario showing where we could be heading for better and for worse. So it sounds like the person was also warning of the dangers of it.
1 second on.
In a written update, she clarified that the piece aimed to start a discussion about some of the pros and cons of the current technological development. Where we are dealing with the future, it is not enough to work with reports. We should start discussions in many ways. This is the intention with this piece. So when they talk about all the different stuff, you don't own your home, you don't own that. The person is saying, the politician that wrote it said that they were showing if automation takes most of our jobs, there's bad things that could happen. And that sounds like a pretty good explanation to me.
Now, I don't know about that video, but the WEF also came out with it wasn't 2030, it was maybe 40 or 50, but it was a very similar layout of like, this is what we want and expect the world to look like. Mm-hmm. And it was very similarly outlined to that, but was far more radical and bad.
Just the the centralization of power, and since they do have the access to a lot of funding and have the ears of a lot of large industry leaders in the system, they're able to, ESG apply their ideals to the economic system of the total world. And they could hear something in like a PowerPoint at one of these meetings, and they could go home. Their companies are so big that if they implemented that idea that they just learned, it could cause a lot of different effects immediately. Well,
that's what you're saying?
Well, think about it. Blackstone has been buying up tons of single family homes across the country. Blackstone. BlackRock.
BlackRock?
No, BlackRock, yeah. Has been buying up, anyway, the real estate of one of those hedge funds is buying up tons of single family homes across the United States, driving up prices. We've been seeing it all over everything. But I mean, that's like, they're trying to, like, that is an active assertion to try to prevent home ownership and just have a bunch of rentals. That it's a continuous stream of income.
Do you think that there should be a law banning organizations or people from owning multiple residential buildings?
Well, the thing is, no one would have ever thought they'd be able to buy tens of thousands of homes across the country.
I mean, there's a lot of, like, I know A-Rod owns a shitload of apartment buildings and stuff in South Florida. He's like the third biggest property owner. Do you think that individuals or companies should be able to own like over 100 homes? What's the upside to it? I guess that maybe there's an upside I haven't thought about. The upside would be that they would get a lot of money.
I mean, there is the whole,
but then the downside would be people wouldn't be able to buy affordable homes.
Right, but like the ethical, like how ethical is being a landlord? That's a whole different discussion.
Right.
Like, do you really add any value?
Right.
Like, you add risk. Like that's one of like the big questions in Adam Smith, like especially in some of his writings, like, the landlord rent versus how much is he actually contributing.
Yeah.
But now that you have in a lot of rentals, there's upkeep.
Right. There's probably like a very small percentage of landlords that are trying to like make their buildings like awesome for their tenants. Probably a very small percentage. Like, I'm putting myself in the shoes of a landlord. Your day to day is to like fix stuff that's broken and to like deal with your tenants that are complaining about stuff. And then every year try to raise the rent. That's basically what your job is, right?
You do try to make your stuff awesome when you need it to be leased.
Yeah.
So if it's awesome when you move in by your standards, you should be able to, maintain the awesomeness unless there is a maintenance issue that is like a leak.
Yeah.
The goal isn't quality of life for the tenant and affordable housing. It's
protecting property.
Yeah, it's money. The goal is money.
Like, would there be any reason for a company like BlackRock to own 1,000 homes?
Let me make sure it's BlackRock.
Is there,
get those mixed up?
Is there any ethical reason? Is there any good reason for them to own homes besides the fact that they would make a bunch of money for their investors? Because like, what was so great about the 50s and the baby boom, people bought houses left and right. It was easy to buy a house.
Right.
A lot of people owned houses. Your parents, your grandparents bought houses because money was cheap. Houses were cheap back then. But now you can't. Now it's like, I I don't know how people are doing it. I don't know how, like, if you graduate from college, well, let me ask the young people in this room. Do you guys find it realistic to be purchasing a home in the next 5 years?
No.
If I fight in Rough and Rowdy again,
Like
and
6
get
times?
Yeah.
How many former AL MVPs do you have to
Yeah.
knock out to be able to afford a home?
Probably by the last payment, I think probably 6 or 7.
Okay. King Caminetti, no, I can't do him.
Well, that's just for the down payment, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And to have the assets for like to get a loan.
I don't even know how much I would need to buy. I don't know how much it would need for a down payment.
About like 20% probably, maybe a little bit more.
Oh,
I don't know.
fuck no, I'm never getting.
No, I'd actually have to 6 or 7 times just for the down payment.
I thought it was like this is gonna sound. I thought it was like 3% you needed.
No.
Oh wait, that wouldn't be that much.
No, you're very wrong about that. Well, if you have outstanding credit, then maybe it wouldn't necessarily be 20%
Wait.
if you found your way into a great deal.
Oh wait, I'm so dumb. 3% is not enough at all.
But for example, PFT, those like BlackRock buying up all those houses have driven the price of houses up,
Yeah.
which has caused us to be on it. Like, for example, let's say I really wanted to start a family right now at this second. Terrifying. Buy a house.
Billy be a
Come
good
on.
dad.
Let's be real. Like, let's say, okay, imagine 1950s Billy.
I think Billy would be
got out of school,
William
was
Pigskin.
married already.
yeah.
Like,
Billy would be
was
an
needed to
awesome-
buy a house,
awesome
You would have
stay-at-home
a
dad.
1,000% have a lunch pail.
have a lunch pail,
Oh, definitely you would have a lunch pail.
and then, you wouldn't be like, if you wanted to live the 1950s lifestyle where you get out of the military and then go buy a house, like, and start a family, you wouldn't be able to.
Wait, you bought a house?
I did buy a house in Texas, but
Texas, though, isn't it? Like
it's cheaper. Austin's pretty expensive. I qualified for like governmental assistance. That's how poor I was in Texas.
okay.
So I got a house that was I was making such little money at the time because I was working for a company that paid me nothing, and I was also trying to start my own writing business at that point. So I was very poor, and it gave me a big break when it came to like how much down payment I needed. The only thing was, and also the house was in a great neighborhood, so I was surrounded by people that had paid like 5 times more for their houses than I did for mine. The only thing was when I moved out, I had to sell it to somebody else that qualified for that same assistance program. So I wasn't able to make money on the house.
Yeah.
I got my money back. But it was like I still owned it for a while and could have lived there for as long as I wanted. It was a great program. So, I mean, I kind of backed my ass into it. But it's tough. It's tough to buy a house. It is. Like Billy's right. If standards were the same that they were in the 1950s right now, where you are making like, I don't know, not necessarily entry level wages, but you've been in a job for like 3, 4, 5 years. Like houses would cost like, I don't know, $100,000. And so people would be able to buy them.
And your college tuition probably costs
$300 a semester.
no 7. Yeah, exactly. So you could literally like work as a lifeguard over the summer.
Sometimes you guys just need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, sounds like you.
Well,
Billy,
if
it
it
sounds
wasn't
like
for-
you should have just been faster at running with a football in your hands.
if I
Yeah.
if I went back,
I don't know if I would want to buy a house ever.
You will own nothing and you will be happy.
so for example,
Oh fuck, I'm doing it.
yeah. So that's
Oh no, they got me.
that's why the WEF, like I'm like pissed at.
Because you can't buy a home.
Because they just want steady streams of rents, not to own anything, not to have something to leave to my posterity.
I'm pissed at big organizations
Then that's
are
steady.
buying up all the houses.
I got backtracked. I'm finding the study.
There should be a law. I don't know exactly what the cutoff should be. You should not own more than
I was gonna say,
Maybe
so
the
what's the
government
number
should
then?
have-
somebody has to figure out a number at some point.
Realistically, it's not even a number. It's an antitrust. Like it's antitrust laws. It's people like literally. It's like politicians doing their job and not being influenced by people who put money in their pocket, like the WEF Leadership Committee.
So what would the number be? I would say 10 houses.
I would say if they have a large enough market share of single family homes, if they have a majority market share in single family homes in the country, yeah, 100%.
Well, yeah, but that's a lot of home. I don't think anyone has a majority market share.
I think if you looked at the exact type of homes,
No one has over 50% market share of homes in this entire country. I can guarantee you that.
not majority, but plurality.
Okay,
Is that the right word?
So now you're just saying like a plurality is, fuck. Now you're making me go back to like,
I think plurality
means
the most of everybody.
yeah,
right, but doesn't necessarily have a majority.
right.
If you have 3 people and there are 20,
Over 33%.
20 beans
Mm-hmm.
and you have 9 beans and one person has 7 and then one person has 4,
Then I've got the
you have
plurality.
the plurality without having a majority.
Yeah. Remember when Billy said that we would
Beans.
just start screaming beans?
It was a New York Times article. Do you trust the Times?
no, no, I don't.
Exactly.
So,
Plurality. Wait.
so
fact-
whoever Billy,
oh,
what
yeah,
you're saying is
plurality.
whoever the biggest fish is, they automatically.
No, but just
nobody would want to be the biggest.
But like,
fish.
for example, when they broke up Big Oil,
Yeah.
back in when, like, I think that was like
1890s or whatever.
Yeah, like they went after guys where it was like, like ethically, politicians would be like, okay, this is fucked. Let's come on. Like, you know,
Well, I'm trying to think of what the number would be.
I
You
don't
need
think
to start lobbying this shit.
we can't lobby shit because people with the money to lobby are the ones buying up all the houses.
Okay, my number's 10. You can own 10 houses. That's it. 10 houses, plenty of houses.
That is plenty of houses.
You don't need more. I've actually thought this number through. If you're a billionaire, you got an apartment in New York, really nice one, really nice apartment in New York.
Okay.
You got a ski house. Everyone
Okay.
needs a ski house.
East Coast and West Coast, or
two.
only West Coast?
You have 2 ski houses.
2 ski houses. Oh, one in Europe, one on the West Coast.
Well, no, you can buy shit overseas. I don't care about that.
Okay,
you have
okay.
one in Colorado, and then you have one maybe in Taos, New Mexico,
or Vermont.
or
You want
Vermont.
East and West.
Okay, so that's
you know.
3 houses that you have.
You're not wasteful.
You have a place in Santa Monica or Southern California on the beach,
Okay.
maybe Malibu. That's 4,
Uh-huh.
and then you also have a place in LA. And then
Florida.
you go out to the beach on weekends from
Uh-huh.
your condo that you have in LA. So that's 5 places.
Florida.
and then you got Florida. You got a place in Miami, right?
Uh-huh.
Easily.
You got a place in like Palm Beach on Star Island or one of those things, the gated communities. And then you're also going to have a hunting cabin.
Okay.
Your hunting cabin can be
Dakota?
oh yeah, good point. Okay, so you have a hunting cabin in South Dakota
Uh-huh.
for pheasant hunting.
Right.
And then you have one in
Upland game.
yeah, I was
Ooh,
going to
Colorado.
We-
We need an Aspen.
No, that's
Yeah,
one of the
you
the ski
your
houses.
ski lodge. You have-
Doubles.
you have a
Oh
ski-
shit!
You have
a
For the
double?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm going to say that you have your other hunting place, say in the Smoky Mountains.
Okay.
Okay, so we're at 8.
But you need a hog hunting. No, you don't hunt
PNW,
hogs.
Yeah,
Pacific Northwest.
So-
somewhere up there.
Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah.
That's for your big tech meetings.
yeah, you got a place in Seattle because you're meeting with Amazon.
Yeah.
That-
Only.
that's 9, and then you have a place in Hawaii,
Which is a ranch that you're playing for the end of the world in.
a ranch in like a pineapple ranch.
No, it's a ranch that you're playing the end of the world in. That's what Zuckerberg's
I
doing.
forgot
right
about
now.
ranches.
Yeah.
So,
Oh shit.
Because you need a Texas ranch.
The South Dakota hunting cabin. You have a ranch down.
Just take away one of the ski lodges. Take away one of the ski
No,
lodges.
no,
Do we have
no.
3?
Oh, you sound like a lib now. No.
Yeah, don't
Klaus Schwab.
I was taking away one of
You're
the
trying to
ski
take.
lodges.
You're
So
trying to take away
I'm
my
ta- I'm ta-
property.
And I'm trying to take away one of the ski lodges so that you can have your Texas ranch.
No, I think my number got moved up to 11. I think I talked myself into it.
That's wild.
I'm saying to have everything that you want in the United States.
Well, but then you
yeah.
2 ski lodge houses.
If you're a billionaire and you need all
Where are they?
the ski lodges,
one West Coast,
Yeah.
one East Coast.
yeah, you either have Breckenridge or Aspen. Probably Aspen. Breckenridge is kind
Aspens. Yeah.
of Breckenridge is a little. There's some
Yeah, I don't know,
riffraff
man.
running around there.
Like you could just rent really well at anywhere else, but have home base in Aspen, and then you have a Texas ranch. I don't know.
But-
I think you're missing out. Honestly,
But part of all these places is that you let your lesser rich friends who are also really rich use them when you're gone.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like
Um,
as favors,
you
which
also-
means you need more.
You also need a place in DC. You need a Capitol
Yeah,
Hill
yep.
townhouse
Yep.
for lobbying.
Yep.
So that's 12. You need 12. You need to be
Talk yourself into
completely
12.
fulfilled as a United States billionaire in terms of the amount of houses that you could possibly ever need to own at the same time. I think your cap's at 12.
Oh, but then you need your horse barn for your daughter who likes jumping horses.
But that's not a
You
house.
can have that attached to any number of your houses, Billy.
I know, but like it needs to be near horse country.
Okay, you can have that in your house in North Carolina.
In the Smoky Mountains?
Yeah, I mean your backyard isn't a mountain.
Well, it's hard to
There's
have
a mountain
horses.
in your backyard, but you've also got.
It's
you've
hard to
got
have.
land.
There's not that many riding paths in the Smoky Mountains, Daddy. I want my pony
There's
to be
plen-
riding.
There's plenty of places.
Whoa.
I want to be jumping.
I got weird.
There's plenty of places.
I'm just pretending to be the billionaire's daughter.
fine.
who
We'll
wants-
get
Yeah, I hear.
Fine,
I hear
will you
what
buy it?
What you said.
Will you buy it?
fine. We'll get the Colonial in Lexington.
Oh, thanks.
Hey,
Daddy.
can we clip Billy
no, he just
calling
did it again.
him daddy?
Okay,
Yeah,
you guys
can we-
get over yourself.
Please clip.
We're racking
Billy
up the
calling
houses.
PFT daddy. Please clip that
Do
and
not clip
blast it
that.
on all
Do
social
not clip
media.
that.
Don't whatever you do. Don't clip.
Don't clip that.
Definitely don't clip this part.
Definitely do not.
Billy
clip
will
that.
be so mad,
So,
and we don't want to make Billy mad because that won't lead to more content. So don't do it.
I won't.
Thank you. So yeah, 12/13 houses. Now, if you're not a skier, then maybe we can back that down to 11. Or my other idea that I would have would be just buy a house in every NFL city in America or a
Okay.
condo, and then you just travel the world going to sports games.
What if your son needs a house and he's like Hunter Biden and he just wants it in Vegas?
A crack house?
Yeah, he needs a crack house.
Well-
that could be like an attached garage.
No,
No,
you
no,
don't
no,
want
you
him
don't
under
want it.
your roof.
You don't want him to see him
Unless
You're
he's
just-
paying me $50,000 a month.
You-
I would
Vegas?
say I would give my son a crack house in Vegas, but it would need to be big and secure so that he would be safe.
in one of the hotels.
Security,
But you
snooping
spot-
around.
But
A
you
lot of
pay him
people
off.
talking about the people that he brings in and out.
There's the personal elevator that goes right up to the suites that are owned private.
And also, if I bought my son his crack house off the strip, he'd just be driving down to the strip all the time. I don't want him to get into an accident.
Helicopter pad on top of whatever hotel.
Where would I put my billionaire fuck up son? I would give him a fake job.
Your Chet Hanks.
Yeah,
No,
I would give him a fake job working
In
for my
ex-
company.
Right, but like that's why. And the only way to get him to do his job is you need to give him the crack house.
Well,
I would change the laws so that crack would become legal, and then my son would be able to have a clean line of business.
But that doesn't stop the bastard children.
I just send him overseas, probably somewhere with one of the companies I do business with, and just be like, "Hey, treat my son like he's me," and just like take him off my hands for a while.
or you can have him. You can have him be the guinea pig at the drug research facility. So they just test new drugs or like just rehabilitate him through drugs. Like we have all kinds of different jobs for him.
I like-
and you're helping humanity
what's
too. It's
I like the
Doesn't
idea. Of,
Hunter Biden have a rehab house that the taxpayers were paying for?
I don't know.
That was right next to the
think you're
rehab
obsessed.
facility.
I think you're obsessed with him.
And then, well,
I don't know. I can't stress this enough. I don't care what Hunter Biden does.
okay, so yeah, so I think we've talked ourselves into almost 20 homes.
No, 13, maybe 14.
Okay, but what about your ex-wife? She might
Gotta
get
be
some of
at
these
least
homes.
two
you
or three of
definitely
those.
signed a
You got
prenup.
2 or 3 of those.
No,
Yeah,
no, no,
I would.
no, no.
If
Then
I
she wouldn't marry you if you got
if
the
I was a
prenup.
billionaire, it'd be prenup city.
Yeah, but you got to sweeten the pot to make her actually.
Okay, so let's say
marry you.
hypothetically, I've got like 2 ex-wives, and then they each need at least 3 homes, right? They got used to a certain lifestyle, and I'm not splitting my ski chalet with my ex-wife.
Yuck.
I'm not doing that. She'll bring Greg,
So do you need a backup one?
and just there goes the neighborhood. A backup ski chalet, yes.
Well, not a backup, just her.
Well,
Well, but
the
it's
thing
definitely
is-
the worst of all of them.
You're
Well, duh.
owning a lot of houses. Like, there's a lot of dudes who like own different houses that their just mistress lives in that no one knows about.
Secret apartments.
Yeah,
Didn't Aaron Hernandez have a secret apartment?
Oh, wow.
and Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems.
Oh yeah,
He
he,
does-
did.
oh,
Julia
yeah.
Fox.
And you just that's
to
where
me
you
is-
let Julia Fox live.
That to me seems like a extremely like one of these things that's way more problems than it's worth.
Yeah,
To have like a secret place that you're trying to keep off the books from your significant other.
and that's like it's a sleazeball central, and then like you just have your whoever sleep there, and then they're just like giving you some time when you come over, but the rest of the time they're partying with people like that they actually want to bang.
You know who had a secret house?
Who?
That golfer that vapes all the time. Affy Barnrat, the guy from, I think he's from, fuck, I don't want to screw this up, maybe Malaysia. He's the golfer that vapes sick clouds on the course. He is from Bangkok. He's from Thailand. So he's like my favorite golfer ever because he's like kind of chubby, wears sick sunglasses, and just vapes the fuck out of these golf courses. And his wife found out that he was making secret payments every month and was like, what's going on with this? And he was like, no, you have me all wrong. He took his wife to another apartment, showed it to her. It's just where he keeps all his Yeezys. He had so many pairs of shoes that he kept them all in this apartment. And it wasn't like I don't even think he had a bed in there. It was like a big storage place.
King.
For his shoes, yeah.
Storage place for shoes. That's wow.
He's
Why not
5'8".
just get a storage? Like,
Good question. He's 5'8" and 230 pounds.
There's a couple people
Beast.
who hoard stuff that have secret storage containers,
Yeah.
but they're doing nothing nefarious, but just storing objects that they think like are valuable.
Just keeping it off the books, yeah. That's weird. That is addict behavior. Like hiding bottles of vodka and shit around your house. You ever watch Intervention? Like families go in and they try to take all the alcohol from the alcoholic, and then the person ends up like hiding bottles here and there around the house. Like you open up the washcloth drawer and there's a big thing of vodka in there. But that's what this person's doing with their storage containers. They're like hiding storage containers from people.
Huh.
Because they're like secretly embarrassed about it.
Like, why do you have 10,000, like, what are they called? Beanie Babies.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought we threw these out. You couldn't stop.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Fyre Fest, about the Fyre Festival. Fyre Fest. It was a more than 2 documentaries. It was an actual thing that people spent money on. Went down, got stuck, stranded in Bahamas. It was started by Billy McFarland. Billy McFarland started an app called the Fyre app, which I think it was a pretty decent idea for an app. It was designed to connect average people with entertainers who wanted to book musical guests for a birthday party, for just, I don't know, if you were a club owner in New York City and you were like, hey, I wonder how much it would cost to get Cage the Elephant to show up here. And then you just go on, you find out, and you can book them. Kind of to eliminate the middleman, because like Live Nation, a lot of these promotional companies, they own the live event space where you have to go through them. They take their cut. They have all the relationships with the big labels. They've got all the relationships with the clubs and the club promoters. So you have to go through these big conglomerates if you want to book anything. So the Fyre app was started by Billy McFarland to try to eliminate that middleman and just, you can think of it as like Uber, but for getting bands to show up and perform places. That's a very simplified way to look at it. So he started out doing that, and then the Fyre Fest idea came because he wanted to promote this app that he had. So he was friends with a lot of very important, influential business people. Matter of fact, one of his closest aides, or not aides, but like mentors, was Aubrey McClendon, the owner of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think Aubrey is related in some way to some of her coworkers. I don't know. I have not looked into that. But Aubrey McClendon ran Chesapeake Energy, and he also owned the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he was a billionaire many times over. Very influential business person. He got indicted for fraud and drove his SUV into the side of a bridge and killed himself. And so he was one of the like business leaders that Billy from the Fyre Fest company, from Fyre app, he was like, learning from him, and he got a lot of money from Aubrey McClendon. And so Billy had a lot of money at his disposal, not just from him, but from his other partners. And he decided that he was going to do this big concert. So he got a bunch of models and influencers to post that orange square on Instagram. And then everybody was like, what's that orange square mean? And it was them promoting this concert that Billy was about to put on. I think he paid $250,000 to Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
Which is the older one? I forget.
That's why I have to put #ad.
Now, yeah. I think Billy might be right about that.
I think it was Kendall, maybe.
It's Kendall?
Yeah. I think Kendall's the older one.
So he paid like $200,000 or whatever it was just to have a bunch of people put an orange square on Instagram.
Yeah.
And that got people going like, oh, what's this Orange Square business all about? Were you guys online? Were you on Instagram when Orange Square Day happened?
Yep.
Yeah.
Were people talking about it? Were people like, Big T was probably like, oh, they're putting the checkerboard on Instagram.
Well, my buddy.
I don't. What year was this? Like 15 or 16?
Ball for life. Let's go. Feels like 98.
Kylie Jenner feels like 98.
First of all, these squares are not Pantone 151C. It's not the red orange. What year was the squares? Because it was a little before the concert, right?
Yeah, the concert was 2016, right?
17, I think.
2017.
So yeah, this was. I was on. I don't remember this though. Like as a huge
I remember like the orange squares. I remember like thinking like, what the fuck is going on? Like I didn't know what was going on.
So the only reason I remember it is that my teammate of mine, who's a senior when I was a freshman, who is now I think a rapper but also an influencer, ended up going to Fyre Festival.
Okay.
And he's actually in the documentary in a couple places.
Okay.
Your friend is an influencer.
He was a former teammate in high school. We haven't really spoken in a long time, but
He raps. What's his rap name?
actually shout out Chozes.
Chozes.
His name's Chozes.
Yes.
CHOZE.
US.
So Chozus.
CHO.
Chose us.
Yeah. Well,
Like they chose us.
he's chosen. Actually, I need to talk to this guy. I actually was thinking of calling him to see what happened to him during Fyre Fest, but I think he escaped on a fishing boat
Okay.
from the story.
Billy just did a real life. I should call him.
Yeah, he did.
Those are my
It's been a
favorite.
while since I talked to my guy, man.
This is my
I
favorite.
haven't spoken to
memes.
him. I mean, we work in a similar industry and we haven't spoken in a long time.
Okay, so it's December.
What's his name? CHO
ZUS.
ZUS. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Okay, so
Chozus.
2016, that's when they posted, December 2016, they posted the orange tile with hashtag Fyre Festival. And people are trying to figure out what's going on because weeks earlier, those same supermodels posted envy-invoking photos of their extravagant Bahamas vacation, complete with yachts, private jets, and swimming with pigs. So Billy was a great promoter when it came to his festival. He did a good job of doing that part of it.
He's one of the most convincing men on the planet.
He promoted the fuck out of this festival, and the only problem was there was no festival. So that's a minor detail.
Yep.
Billy's really good about talking. He's actually the best at talking a big game. Really good at talking a big game. But they're not really backing it up. And we're going to get to him and discuss some of that with Billy himself in a little bit. So he's a great promoter when it came to this festival. But then as it grew, the date grew nearer and nearer, it became very apparent to everybody that was working with him that they weren't going to be able to do it. And so Billy would just like label people that would be like, hey, we're dealing with some real problems here. He would call them haters basically and be like, let's just do it and be legends. And that was the tagline that came out of that documentary. That's why people say that. I think that was a Billy McFarland quote. Was in one of the meetings, they were presenting Billy with like 1,000 reasons why there's no chance that this festival could ever work. And he goes, well, counterpoint, full send. And then everyone was like, yeah, okay, good point. Billy makes a good point. So Billy was gung-ho about getting this thing set up. And he worked with Ja Rule. Ja Rule was instrumental in marketing for this. As he'll tell you, it was not fraud. It was false advertising that Ja Rule committed. I think Ja Rule is maybe the funniest celebrity that they could have chosen to be involved in this. He's very,
Absolutely. I agree with that 1,000%. So hilarious, dog.
he's very
So
funny. And basically their prep for the Fyre Festival included just going down to the Bahamas and getting drunk in the Bahamas. And that was about the most work they were putting in.
Can I ask one question
Scouting.
of you and Arian? Was Ja Rule ever like big? Like I know the name,
Yeah.
but like
yeah.
did he have like hits?
Late
yeah.
90s, from my perspective, as a white youth in the suburb, I knew him more as like F/Ja Rule than as Ja Rule because he was featured on every song. If you needed a rapper to give you like 16 bars on a pop song, Ja Rule was your guy because he had that distinctive voice. He was
So
massive.
that was I think that was pop Ja Rule.
Yeah.
So pre-pop Ja Rule, he was legit like in his first album, Vini Vidi Vici. Like that, I didn't listen to. Well, I mean, of course I listened to it, but like I didn't bump any of his albums after that because he went pop and he started like, the singy song like with Ashanti, that type vibe. That's what he went after. But his first album was like legit. Like I'm talking about, he had songs with Jay-Z, DMX. Like he was in that mix and in that category of like that rough and raw New York feel. He was definitely respected and he definitely had hits. And so he was that dude. I think his downfall was beefing with 50, honestly. 50 ruined that man. 50 ruined that man. He ruined his ego. He ruined everything. It was wild.
I was there when you call, but I'm always on time.
What?
Got to do.
Well,
He had like the deep, raspy voice.
We'll be done without my baby.
yeah, that's the pop. That's the pop job.
Wait, is it
Way walk, way walk.
Nail in the Coffin? That's a Ja Rule diss, right?
Yep. You know him from his Eminem. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very Billy.
That's actually
Very Billy.
where I know more.
From getting clapped up by Eminem.
That's a hype pregame song, Nail in the Coffin.
It is pretty good. So
Actually, that's going on our next lifting playlist.
hell yeah. So they put together this festival, and again, basically Billy was just getting drunk and hanging out with people in the Bahamas, and he had a company that he was in charge of, and they were trying to do their jobs marketing the festival, but there was never enough money to actually get it done. And so Billy would have to wake up every day figuring out how to get the people that he owed money to, how to pay them, and how to just like find money every day, which sounds like such a stressful situation where you wake up and you're like, oh, I have to find $50,000 to pay this person. It was like that day after day. And then they got to the point where they were out of money entirely. And they owed some vendors, I believe it was like $3 million. And they had to figure out a way to just like create $3 million. And so what they did was Billy decided he would send out an email to everybody that had bought a ticket. And to Billy's credit, he did sell out his concert. So how many tickets were there? Like 2,500, 3,000?
So the exact...
That's the crazy thing, in which I just don't understand this man's mentality. Is like he did his part, he sold it out. Like, just put a pause on everything else, dog. Like, you did it. Shit's wild.
He's a promoter, and
Yeah.
he should never have been in charge of the entire operation. He should have just been their market. If he was their marketing team and had an unlimited budget, basically, yeah, Billy would have done a good job for you.
I'm just saying we're going to be speaking to him later, and Arian has accused me of sucking him off, for lack of a better term.
No,
I
said simp. Hold on, I said simping for him. You the one calling people daddy and talking about sucking them off. I ain't saying nothing.
Excuse me. But I literally just want to know, his job was promotion. He acquired funding. I kind of wanted to figure out, like, why, like, what were the logistics as to why you couldn't get stuff there, and if you were
That's not how that went down. That's not
Because he didn't know how, and he never really tried that hard.
So why didn't he get somebody who knew how?
Because I thought
Bruh,
he was the man. He was like, this is my festival.
This is what's wild about that whole interaction, Billy, and why I thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
It was because his entire career is riddled with snake oil salesman shit. And so his whole gimmick, he was literally under investigation and still doing running schemes. He was still literally under investigation running schemes. And so it's like his entire shtick is like he's trying to fuck people over. And then you give him a question to say, was there supply chain issues? Or like, what was going on?
Like,
my guy?
no, but like,
it's just not. He had no intention.
So I was like, well, I guess that was, if I was in his situation, I'd be like, okay, we need to get this, this, and this. Let's try to find this. Let's try to find this. But I guess he was putting together mock-ups that didn't even have the stuff he could get. So he was selling these cabanas and stuff.
He was just like, the entire premise of his marketing material was like, wouldn't it be sick if we had this? And then Billy's like, yeah, that would be sick. Put it on a flyer or put it on a digital ad. So we had like, it started from the very beginning. So he went and visited this island one time when he was down in the Bahamas, and he's like, this place is sick. And somebody told him, this island used to belong to a top general that worked closely with what's his name from Medellin? COVID brain. Quick, hit me.
Pablo Escobar.
Pablo Escobar. Thank you. So they said this was owned by one of his top generals. And Billy's like, this is awesome. I'm going to use this for my festival. And so they said, okay, you can use it for your festival, but you can't use Pablo Escobar's name. We will not have you marketing this island as a Pablo Escobar island. And so the very first thing that he put out was like, come party at this giant festival on Pablo Escobar's island.
It's literally like in bold letters as he put that shit on there.
Yeah. And then they said, okay, well, guess what, Bill? You can't use this island anymore. So then he had to switch and find another island, which he found. And the other island would only give him like an industrial like parking lot, basically, at the north end of the island. He's like, fuck, I already told all these people it's going to be on an island. So then he real quick redrew the map and edited out the other part of the island on all the promotional flyers to make it look like they had their own island. But it was really just like the North Shore / parking lot of this big island that had other resorts and all this other stuff on it.
And the crazy thing is, in the interview when we're talking to him, he still said, I mean, it was an island. He still said it. And it's like, dog, like,
yeah,
cut the games, man. You lost, Rock.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah.
You'll hear him. He goes, so we had the island. I was like, was it really an island, Billy? And I tried to give him an opportunity. He was like, well, it was on part of an island. So yeah, it was our island.
I was trying to figure out if it was an archipelago.
It's
not archipelago, a peninsula.
It's the north part
of a whole island on the other side.
It's other island, yeah. And so, but Billy put together I guess a pretty good lineup. So the final lineup had Pusha T, Tyga, Blink-182, Major Lazer, the Migos.
This sounds like an awesome lineup.
Lil Yachty, Skepta. Billy, you love Skepta. Claptone, Big T.
Skepta is actually sick.
10 Snake. That's a good lineup.
Those first 6 or 7 you listed are pretty good.
Yeah, I pretended to know the back half of it, but the first 6 or 7 all pretty good. It would have been a great concert, and I think he had something like, I think the range of ticket prices were between $1,500 and I saw somewhere up to $100,000 if you wanted like a giant villa.
I think it was more. I think there was like 250 if I'm not mistaken. It was crazy, and it got sold too.
Yeah, people bought it because again, he did a great job working with the biggest influencers in the world and just figuring out, oh yeah, I can pay Emily Ratajkowski and she'll put it on there and then people will do whatever she says. So, yeah.
Sorry, totally off topic. Arian, have you ever gotten into grime rap? Like UK grime?
What is that?
Like UK rappers, speaking of Skepta?
It's really hard for me to listen to UK rap. I might be alone in that too. It's just like, it's like when that accent, it's just like it's hard for me to, I don't know, man.
When it's shut down.
Yeah.
Shut down Roadman.
What's up, bruv?
We've got a coworker, Troops, who's from London, and he has, the standard British accent, but he always says, like, instead of in the streets, it's always in the road over there. So he's like, I'm from the road.
I said, one day I had a homeboy because we was trying to listen to, like, we decided to give it a chance, so I was listening to it with him. He was like, and he just listening to him talk about it, and he was like, man, them niggas don't got streets, them niggas got cobblestone.
No, they call it the road, and they call it we were from the roadman. Yeah. So
Troops, this is hard. I don't know.
Troops is friends with Anthony Joshua, who's a British boxer. And he's like, I know Anthony Joshua. He's a roadman, man. And I'm like, what? He's like, he's a roadman. I'm like, what's a roadman? And he's like, from the road. I'm like, oh, it's like the streets? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. If you want a good example of UK grime rap, check out Skepta Shut Down. It's a banger.
I'm straight, man. My music palette is full, man. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Shut
no
down.
Disrespect.
It's such a different, unique sound that's just interesting.
I'm sure it's great, and I'm sure people out there would be like, "Hey, you need to listen." I'm sure I do, but I can't get into it. It's just not my flavor, man.
All right, so they sold 5,000 tickets. The thing sold out, and they hired an air service. So they hired a charter jet that would fly people from Miami. So the point was
Go ahead.
Well, they said that there would be private jets that would
Yes.
fly you. And it was just like I think they got a 747 and then they just put Fyre Festival on the side of it.
It's like shit. It was like Spirit Airlines. It was like that kind of vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the time, Billy said that the Fyre app was valued at $90 million. And then Comcast asked for some proof that that's what it was valued at, because Comcast Ventures was going to invest $25 million into it. And then Billy McFarland was like, hopefully if I get this $25 million, then I'll be able to pay for everything with the festival. But Comcast was like, I need proof that your company is actually valued at $90 million. And Billy was like, yeah, about that, I'm not going to be able to get you that proof that you need. So they very wisely did not invest in the Fyre app. They were getting in over their heads big time. And then Billy had a couple of his investors come in, give him some cash to pay some of the vendors after I think he already fired the caterer. No, that was 2 weeks. So we can get to that later. He had a caterer that he paid $6 million to. And then he said at the last minute, we can only pay you $1 million. And the caterer said, well, you can fuck yourself. And so then he fired the caterer at the very last minute. That's what led to those cheese sandwiches. So Billy was trying to figure out how to raise a bunch of money because he owed some of the vendors, I think about $1.5 million, and he didn't have it. And so then he came up with a smart idea to raise cash quickly. He said that the event is going to be cashless. It's going to be in order to completely provide an immersive experience into the island atmosphere, be cashless and cardless. So you should pay thousands of dollars and put all your money onto an RFID chip that's going to be on your bracelet that we're going to give you when you get there. And so everybody was like, sure, that sounds good. And he said on the email, I think he said, like, we recommend adding $200 to $300 per day, although some people have selected to add thousands. And so most people deposited like $200-$300, some people more. But the bottom line was he got about $2 million in a day just from people uploading cash onto their RFID chips, which, now it should be said, the money did not go to their bracelets. The money went straight to Billy, and then Billy used that money to pay people that he owed money to already. So it's a good idea to raise money in a short period of time if you're a scam artist. And he scammed everybody out of it. But he was robbing Peter to pay Paul at this point. And so the day of the concert gets nearer. He doesn't have any of the stuff set up, doesn't have any of the actual villas. And it's tough to tell with Billy because he still blames like some of the contractors that he used for not building these houses fast enough. But I mean, he was asking them to construct like full scale apartments in a couple of months. So that was never going to happen. So I don't really believe.
And he couldn't stay for as long as I would like him to stay, because I really wanted to press him on that. I wanted to press him on the fact that the locals there like worked they asses off and didn't get paid, man. I'm talking about day and night. They were working to try to construct these things that he promised, which they didn't even have all the materials for. It was just a shit show, but those people were really working. The caterers were really working. Like, people, lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, like, fucking with this dude. And it's like, I wanted to press him on that, but we ran out of time.
Yeah. They, the caterer that he used at the last second, that lady that owned the restaurant, I feel bad for her. You've seen her in the videos. You've seen her in the.
She ended up getting a check though from the GoFundMe. I think.
She did. So people saw the documentary and started GoFundMe, and they paid her a shitload of money. I don't know where that all went to her, if it went to other people, but it sounds like she got paid back in full by the end of it. But as the day of the festival gets closer, there's all sorts of stuff that's just apparent that they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and there's not going to be any place for people to stay. There's not going to be any place for people to like shower, use a restroom, and they're dealing with all these emails from people who are asking them questions like, hey, what's going to be included in the tents? Am I going to be able to plug in my phone? What's going on? What have I paid for? They just don't answer anything. In fact, the emails went to an address that did not work. So if you tried to write an email to like help at Fyre Fest or whatever, it just bounced back immediately to you. So you couldn't get in touch with them that way. So people started spamming the comment section, not spamming, but started replying in the comment section of all their Instagram posts like, somebody needs to talk to us and figure out what we're doing. Why can't I get any help and any straight answers on what's included with these tickets? And they closed down the comments on all their Instagram posts and wouldn't respond to any of them. So then the day before the concert started, there was a big ass rainfall, soaked all the mattresses that had been laid out. At that point, there was nothing that they could do to pretend that it was going to happen. And people showed up. They tried to get him drunk. That's a good strategy Billy had, by the way. Everybody showed up to the island the day of the concert. And it reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where George tells Susan's parents that he owns a house in the Hamptons. And you just go along with the lie until you physically can't go along with it anymore. Like, it's like Casey Anthony. When Casey Anthony brought the investigators to Orlando, to Universal Studios, walked them through the hallways, told them that she worked there until she got to the very end of the hallway and she couldn't lie anymore. And she was like, okay, that was a lie. I'm sorry, I don't work here anymore. That's what Billy was doing. And he came up with a good strategy to delay it, which was after the festival goers arrive, we're just going to send them to the restaurant and get them drunk. And so that will buy me a couple more hours. And it did. And then people figured out what was going on. And then Billy basically said, okay, it's a free for all. And at that point he had to kind of like give up the game. Said, all right, I fucked up. Then he got arrested. Fun times.
What would you have done if you were one of the people that was there? Not that they had that many options really, but I don't know what you'd do.
Yeah, so I imagine that there was it got divided up into different cliques. Probably some of the people there tried to go raid the domes that they built for him, the FEMA tents or whatever. Mm-hmm. Some people probably went looking for Billy to beat him up.
I would like to think I might have been leading a mutiny.
So
yeah,
I think I wanted to call my friend and talk to him, but from what I heard and he said, they basically just scavenged as much supplies as they could at the moment and then tried to hold out to see how long that their crew could like figure out a way off the island. I think it was literally like calling like a boat rental place and be like, if you come pick us up from this island, like we'll pay you to get us out of here.
Yeah, I don't think that I would have wasted time trying to track Billy down. I think I probably would have been in that camp where I try to solve the problem that we have.
Yeah.
Figure out the options to get us off this island. I don't know when we're going to get food, if there's enough water.
I just figured out how to get to Senor Frogs in Nassau, Bahamas, because I've always wanted to go there. I've always heard about this place.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to go to Senor Frogs in the Bahamas.
You should go.
I know. I hear like it's this crazy magical place.
It is.
Have you been?
No, but I've been to another Senor Frogs.
I've never been to Senor Frogs.
It combines everything that you love.
I know.
Alcohol and frogs.
And you can watch football.
Yeah, there you go. We'll get you to a Senor Frogs at some point, Billy. A field trip.
That's on my bucket list.
What else is on your bucket list?
Going to Arrowhead in a playoff situation.
Okay, cool. So then Billy was like, okay, well, there's no concert. Everybody got mad at him. Everybody left. They actually did try to, like the local people on the island, the Bahamanians, they, when they realized, they started hearing that people weren't getting paid for all the work that they'd done, that there was no money. They did start a strike immediately. And then they went looking for Billy, and Billy had to hide from him for a while. And Billy probably could have gotten his ass kicked that day. I don't know how. Did we ask Billy how he got out? I don't think that we did.
No, we didn't ask.
But
you know what we didn't ask either is why he's mad at Ja Rule.
Oh, Ja Rule just basically took zero responsibility for everything after, I think that's
true.
I think he was like, yeah, Billy duped me too.
yeah.
Like I had no idea.
So then Billy comes out, he gets arrested, and he's out on bail, and he's awaiting charges. And then what does Billy do while he's out on jail? He starts another scam company, NYC Tickets, I think it was called. And it speaks to Billy's whole thing of like Billy thinks that the biggest thing that anybody wants is to like be next to a celebrity. Billy thinks that people will go to the ends of the earth to hang out at a place that a celebrity's at. And so he started this fake ticket company where you could buy tickets to the Met Gala. You could buy tickets to all sorts of stuff that celebrities were going to be at. and like VIP access.
I wanted to ask about that because that speaks, in my opinion, much more to like the Fyre Fest thing. Yes, it was put together incredibly shittily and there was fraud and all sorts of stuff that was done improperly. But at least it in theory existed. Like it could have happened. This thing was completely fake, completely just a lie.
Yeah, there were no tickets.
Just straight up lying to people. Things you couldn't buy tickets to if you wanted to.
Yeah, he was selling tickets to the Met Gala. They don't sell tickets to the Met Gala. And so
pretty famously.
Yeah, so people were just they were giving Billy money and Billy was just taking their money and not giving them anything. And the judge caught wind of that, was like, well, you're the biggest fucking moron I've ever seen in court. And so he ended up having to go to jail for a little bit longer. And now he's out. And I think he has to try to make restitution to some people. I think he's trying to figure out what he wants to do with the rest of his life, which we'll talk to him about. So without further ado, here's Billy McFarland from the Fyre Festival. Okay, we welcome on a very special guest. It's Billy McFarland. You probably have heard of him already. You said 4 months out of prison right now?
Yeah, my sentence ended August 30th, so 4.5 months.
Okay, well, you got a little bit of the summer in. You didn't miss that entirely, but we're very glad that you're in studio today. We've got a lot that we can talk about with you. Yeah, Billy already has a question.
I think the freshest thing in your mind is, since being out of prison, what was one of the first things that you missed going in that you didn't realize, and now that you're out, that is your favorite new experience after being out?
I think like people always ask like, what is the biggest food you missed? Like, did you miss sex? And honestly, the biggest thing was like the ocean. I just wanted to go swimming so badly.
Yeah.
I think it just like felt so freeing, but I got like an ear infection immediately like the day after. So
that's tough. I had a good friend in college that went away for, I think, 8 or 9 months. And when he got out, the first thing that he did, he just went straight to McDonald's. And he was like, I'm going to order 7 cheeseburgers and come back and eat all of them. But no, we're glad that you're here. I've got a lot to talk to you about because when the documentaries came out, that must have been a wild time in your life where you went from being like, known in New York social circles and some of the entertainment industry to being like a household name across America, and now coming out the other side of it and realizing that you've got that in your past and your brand is built up to like a big place, but maybe not in all the ways that you wish that had been brought up. So what are you doing right now? Like, what's next for Billy McFarland now that he's out of prison?
So I had so much time just to like think and learn. I know it sounds like cliche, but I really realized like what I'm good at and what I really suck at, and put together a little bit of a team, launching a new business now called Pirate, and we're fucking going for it. And I want to like go bigger and crazier than before, but do it the right way and pay everybody back.
Bigger and crazier.
Yeah.
Bigger. So, all right. I don't know which way to start, like with bigger, or should we start with crazier? I'll let you decide.
More impactful. It's like the same shit, right? It's like at the end of the day, doing a festival is like kind of cool, but I don't want to like be a festival guy for the rest of my life. And like, even if it went really well, like that's an awesome accomplishment as like a 25-year-old, but I don't want to like die as an 80-year-old and be like, yeah, I did 10 years of like an amazing festival. I want to build something that everybody uses and really impacts the world.
Okay, so what is Pirate and how is it bigger and crazier? Because you have my attention.
Cool.
I'm in. Bigger and crazier.
Yeah,
I'm just in.
You sold Billy. Billy to Billy. I think that you two are actually going to have a lot in common and a lot to talk about today. So I'm excited to see how that unfolds. But okay, so talk to me about Pirate. What are we trying to do that's bigger and crazier?
Yeah, so one thing on the False End podcast, I was trying to look everybody in the eye and I got ripped on for like looking like a bobblehead. So please stop me.
No, just whatever you need to do. Yeah.
So yeah, like one thing we did really well was just taking like absolutely insane people from the US who just like didn't know each other and bringing them to these outer islands and like making them go diving with sharks, like putting them up in airplanes that shouldn't be flying and all these like life-defying experiences. It's like was really good at bringing people together. So like I would take PFT and, maybe a different comedian, maybe an athlete, like maybe a model, put them all on this island for a weekend and you guys would leave and like be best friends. Mm-hmm. I think there's like this inherent magic to that experience. So I want to do that permanently by taking over a small hotel where I can host just like really interesting people there every weekend. But then I want to rig the entire island and hotel with 360 cameras, show it to all of the fans of people like PFT who are on the island, and let these fans actually like buy into and change what's happening in your life and like impact these crazy experiences.
So you're pitching like White Lotus meets Big Brother.
Yeah, it's almost like a Sims meets like this like amazing rarefied island with like real crazy people who you actually care about.
Okay, I want to just go ahead and volunteer Billy for this, not myself, but I want to. Yeah, Billy, you're more than
I'm
more
in.
than welcome.
I'm in.
If you, however long you need them for.
Cool. We'll work the kinks out with Billy, and then we'll come back and invite you.
I mean, shared experiences is always a great way to make people connect and, interact and end up having lifelong friendships. So how would you then try to monetize those relationships that these people make at the island?
Yeah, and it's like, how can a million fans like ideally watch what's happening and buy into it? Like, how can everybody from their computer contribute $1, build like a little beachside bar, and then like sell PFT a drink, and then like share a drink with them? So it's all about taking crazy people to crazy experiences, but then opening it up to as many people as possible.
This sounds like a little metaversey.
Yeah.
Is it going to get metaversey?
So like I missed this whole metaverse like wave when I was in jail. I missed like all the NFT and crypto. And,
You lucked out.
Thank God.
Yeah,
I would have been done for like 40 years.
There's actually there's a lot of people that would probably trade what you did over the last 2 years, like staying in prison, rather than having experience what they did with the entire crypto thing, like SBF.
Yeah.
I'm sure SBF would have loved to have been locked up for the last 3 years.
Why didn't I just try a stupid festival here instead?
Yeah, exactly. You're a visionary. Yeah, that was, can you see
I
the
knew
future?
it was coming, so I just wanted to go to jail and like stop myself from myself.
You probably would have gotten sucked deep into the crypto.
I don't want to know, but
experience,
it's like
yeah.
I've met with like a handful of like the bigger crypto players over the past couple of weeks, and I left these meetings. I'm like, dude, was everybody in the world like this scammy like 6 years ago, or am I just a fucking pussy now? Like, I want nothing to do with these guys.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff that you were probably lucky that you did miss out on, and it sounds like you've learned what you can do really well, because I think anybody that's watched the documentaries, they'd be idiots to say that you're not talented at certain things. They'd probably say things like, okay, you don't know your limitations, and you have a bunch of big blind spots, but you also have like some things that you're very good at. Like the concept, I actually think magnesis was not that bad of an idea. I think like,
Were you a member?
What's that?
Were you a member?
I was not. No, it's before my time here in New York. But so maybe we can go back to the start. That might be the best way to do this here. So talk to me about when you started Magnesis, which it was a membership platform where you would get that solid metal card and you would get access to a townhouse in the West Village and some other things. So tell me how that started and where you went from there.
So I dropped out of college after my freshman year to work on a company called Spling, and I was basically making like software for like record labels and TV networks, and starting to meet people that my like childhood peer group just didn't really know existed. They were all in the traditional like college track, like trying to work like, big corporate jobs. And I'm out here at 19, like, pitching the CEO of like XYZ record label. And I was literally like at dinner with some of these new people I was meeting, and one of them dropped their Amex Black Card. I think I had like $100 in my like Chase account at the time, like struggling to pay my employees, like survive myself. And I'm like, fuck, I really want this Black Card. So I was in the second ever WeWork labs down on Barrack Street. Went to Alibaba before Alibaba was really like a thing in the US. This is like 2010, 2011. Ordered a sheet of black metal and a credit card copier. So the metal came, I copied my like blue Chase debit card onto this hunk of metal, found some laser engraver in the Diamond District who like put Billy McFarland, CEO, like wrote my name on this card. And it's like went out that night and was treated like a fucking king. Like every bottle girl who like wouldn't let me in like a week before was now like, trying to get my number and serving me. Like, this is awesome. So went back to WeWork and just sold like a couple hundred cards to all the WeWork members, and realized that like selling the cards like cool, but wasn't going to change my life. Then started realizing the people who were buying these cards were actually like pretty interesting and had like weird, crazy things going on in their life. And started thinking, how could I bring these people together and actually make like a community out of the card, where the card is just the marketing tool, but the real value are the people who have the card.
Wait, so when you were selling them in the WeWork, were you just basically copying their cards onto the metal like you had done for yours, just to...
Yeah. I literally had like a Spling box, like a 7-person, like, glass box in the WeWork. And then the other guys would come in and have my credit card copier next to my computer. Be like, hold on real quick.
You just invented like a more prestigious way to spend your own money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where you're like, man, it'd be way cooler if when I handed people my card to pay for something, they were more impressed with me, because they could, like, there's no way for them to see what your bank account is when you hand them your card. But if you have a hefty metallic card, then they're like, wow, this guy's up to something.
So then why it worked is like, you would buy a card, right? You'd want to show the card off. That's the whole reason why you got it. So you go to dinner with your friends, you go out to drinks, you make it clear to everybody they had a black card. And then like 3 of your friends would be like, okay, what the fuck? How do I get one? And it just creates this viral nature to it where every card holder becomes like a unpaid salesperson basically for the brand.
People that are chasing that status of having a heavier card. Yeah.
That's actually hilarious because I have a card that's kind of the opposite. It's like a $500 limit like Discover card that I usually leave at bars for the tab. So if I like forget it, like I won't be missing it that badly. But basically, like it's the exact opposite of that same ideology. Like, yeah, I'll leave this here. It's not that big of a deal if I like lose it for 2 days. So that's wild.
Yeah. So you create Magnesis, and then my guess, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. My guess is, with the membership, like $295 a year, whatever it was for the membership on that, it's tough to turn that into like a giant business because there's a cap to however many people in New York City can be part of this club. And so then you made some comments on the news about like how well the company was doing. It sounds like you promised some things to some investors, and then you kind of did the backwards math to back yourself into a point where you're able to tell your investors how good the company's doing. And then you kind of just ran out of money that way. Is that close?
Yeah. The craziest thing is like we were actually doing like decent, and there was no need to start like lying publicly. We had 12,000 like members direct there. We'd done over 10 million in revenue at this point, but I'm like, that's not big enough. Like, I was 22 and had just done 10 million in revenue. It was like pretty good. But instead I'm like, okay, we have 100,000 members, and just started lying. And it was all in this attempt to get cash to execute Fyre in the Fyre Festival. So it's like so stupid how like just this need to go bigger just fucked up something that genuinely like would have been a great hit as a young 20-year-old in New York.
Or like something that you could sell to Bank of America, where it's like, okay, you have the program. It's like an add-on. If you're between the ages of 20, 30 in New York City, then if you're a Bank of America customer, you can access the Magnesis program or whatever. Like selling it to somebody else probably would have been a cool exit for you.
Yeah, I could have sold it for $40 million making this up, but I wanted to be like that $1 billion startup founder, like in like the early unicorn days, and like that wasn't good enough.
So I remember watching the documentaries, and I'm glad that you brought up like you wanted to be that startup founder, because what struck me was I was like, I think that Billy just wants to be an entrepreneur. I don't think that he cares enough about a specific product, or that he's passionate enough about like a user group or user base or a customer base. I think you just want to be a CEO and want to be an entrepreneur. And so you seem to like bounce around a little bit here and there to different projects because you want to be like the man. You want to be known as an entrepreneur, known for your hustle. Is that like something that you've thought about for yourself?
I think things are just happening so fast, and it's like got bored so fast. It's like, okay, I'm bored with Spling. Let's make Magnesis. All right, now Magnesis, I'm meeting all these rappers and these pilots with little planes. Like, fuck Magnesis, I'm on an island. And like, I just couldn't be satisfied with like what I currently had, and just couldn't see it through. I just kept hopping to the next thing.
Okay. Arian,
what's going on? Great to meet you.
I am here. Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. What's going on? What's going on, Billy?
Big fan. Nice to meet you.
Oh, really? Oh, appreciate you, man. Likewise.
Arian, we just got into a little bit of Billy's background, taking us up through his first couple startups. Do you have any questions for him right off the bat?
Off the bat, not really. I mean, maybe. Okay, yeah. So because obviously you've seen the documentaries, right?
I haven't watched them.
You haven't?
No,
you have not watched them?
We should do a live stream watch party from Barstool.
You've definitely watched them.
I swear on my life I never watched them.
Billy, you've watched them.
I swear.
Have people tweeted clips at you? And
For sure. I've seen clips, but I've not watched them.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I believe you.
Keno, Kelly, back me up.
Well, that's wild. I guess let's start with that. Why have you not seen the documentary? Because I say to say if there was
good question,
a hit piece, a national hit piece on me, I would want to check out to see its validity. Like why have you not watched it?
Yeah, good question. So I was like 6 or 7 months into my jail sentence when they both came out, and one of the guys got like a USB device smuggled in to watch both documentaries and like showed it to the jail. I think like half the jail watched, and I went outside alone. Other half was either didn't care, or acting like they didn't care, and I was in such a fragile mental state where it's like, I just don't know half these people who are like telling all these stories. And I just know I would get so mad and just would have done something stupid. Like I would have like taken someone's cell phone, like called the media and been like, oh, this is bullshit. Like I just wasn't ready to like face the facts. I just would have gotten myself in more trouble. And then it became like a point of pride a year or two later. It's like, yeah, fuck that. I haven't watched it. And now I'm just being stubborn.
So how many people?
Well, you could also just market it as like a live event on Twitch or like on YouTube. Like watch me watch and react to my own movie for the first time. Probably get a decent amount of viewers for that.
How many people knew you the day you got to jail, and then did their attitude change after like the documentaries?
So I think the people knew me for the wrong reason. I got my bail revoked and was taken to the Brooklyn Detention Center, which is a pretty brutal place. And I just knew nothing about jail. And I think my biggest like lack of education was like this social aspect of jail, and it's just super, super far behind. And I remember coming in, there's like these 4 white guys with literally like swastikas in their foreheads that come up to me. It's like, hey, you guys got to sit here. You got to do this. And like, you know, just didn't really look at them and just like became boys with this 25-year-old black kid from Brooklyn. And they just like kept threatening me saying, hey, you can't hang out with the black guys. You got to hang out with the white guys. And like, I just keep saying no. And like, I'm getting more aggressive about saying no. And so I just basically made this huge scene my first week there and like caused some like racial issues. So I think they all knew me for the wrong reason in the beginning, but that was a wild experience.
So then you went to
The uniter.
Yeah, what a powerful message from Billy McFarland on Martin Luther King Day. Wow, thank you, Billy. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. But real quick, I want to have like a follow up, because I mean, like, you haven't seen the documentaries, right? So I watched both of them when they came out, actually, because I mean it's a captivating story.
Yeah.
I think you would agree with that. Neither one paints you in a very positive light, but I think the more accurate depiction that they have you as very apathetic and kind of unaware of the turmoil that you caused. Is that still your position? Do you feel like you did nothing wrong? I mean, maybe this is too early to hop into this part of it.
No.
But do you feel like is that the case, or is there like remorse, or like I don't know how to approach it because I don't know your disposition about everything?
No, good question. It's like I was so wrong, and I think that some people get mad if I like come and do a podcast and like talk about something new. But I went through a period where it's like for 2 years I just felt like I couldn't do anything. And it's like I fucked up so badly, I just need to shut up. And then whether right or wrong, like the next 2 years after that, I did around 4 years in jail. It's like I need to go do something and pay everybody back. And, you know, if I go and drive Uber for 10 years, like no one's going to get paid back. So I got to go for it, and I got to be honest along the way. So it's like I need to kind of like hide my remorse, or at least like, you know, quell my remorse a little bit, and just like keep that ambition to go and try to build something. But at the end of the day, it's like I was so fucking wrong and need to make it up to everybody that was hurt.
Who was the one group or the one individual that you feel the worst about what you did?
So I think it's really the investors who backed me since I was like 19, and they worked with me for 5 or 6 years before I really started lying to them about Fyre. And like, it was so easy to lie to them because I had built that trust. And it's like, that's what I feel like the biggest scumbag for. It's like once someone trusts you through so much shit and then you take advantage of it, like you're way worse of a human than some guy you just meet for 30 seconds and like, you know, get him to invest. So I feel bad for those long-term people.
On that line and going forward with your new endeavors, do you know the point where you were basically taking it seriously? You know, you weren't sort of doing anything illegal yet, but then the lies started to pile up and you sort of crossed that line into this is fraud almost. Was it a distinct line that you could tell in the moment, like this is where I'm gone too far? Or was it sort of a gradual accumulation of, okay, well, I lied here, lied there, and it just really stacked up?
I think like consciously it was gradual, but subconsciously, like I knew when I crossed that line and, you know, it started like spitting out of control. So yeah, it was there.
Yeah. So if you want to like walk us through the inception of the Fyre Festival, which was designed to promote the app, the Fyre app, which was like if you're at home and you want Ja Rule to play at your birthday party, then it's like maybe not Ja Rule, but somebody that's like
don't waste your money on him, but there's other great guys you can hire.
Like I don't know, mid-range artist, something like that.
Hold on, that's something to stick on. Is there like turmoil between you two as of right now?
So I'd love to do like a charity MMA fight against him. So if I could do an official call
up
on Barstool,
What about a boxing match?
I'm in. So I'm ready to go.
So you know that
1-minute rounds?
we run Rough and Rowdy
at
Barstool, which is a boxing tournament. So Billy competed against Jose Canseco.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
He knocked him out.
Really?
Yeah.
Congrats.
It was a wild scheme of events.
Oh, I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Watch this.
So we actually do have the means to get something like this done, and I'll talk to Dave about it. I will see if he wants to be involved. I imagine that if we turned it into a big event, he would be in. But we'll talk offline.
I think
about
like let's pay the Bahamas back. And how can you say no to doing a good thing?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like 100% of proceeds go to the Bahamas. I don't touch the money. Let's go.
We'll get Bella Hadid to like promote it on Instagram. It'll be fantastic.
It's got legs.
It'll be, you know what we should do? It should be like we could have it in the Bahamas on an island.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
It would be a luxurious boxing experience, like completely immersive. I feel like this has legs.
I think people will pay $20 to watch that.
Probably, yeah.
No?
That's actually what you should have done. Just a virtual concert where people don't actually have to go to the island, but they just pay money to watch the artist. Anyways, we can talk about these other ideas later. I've got a million of them. But when you have the idea to promote the Fyre Festival as a promotion device for your app that you've created, and you decide you zero in on the Bahamas, and they tell you are not allowed to say that this is one of Pablo Escobar's former islands. Yep. What was the first thing that you did in the promotional material?
Pablo Escobar's island, baby.
Right.
The story was just too good. Like,
and so immediately they were like, "What the fuck? You can't do this. We're taking your island away."
Yeah, pretty much.
What if you had never done that?
So the issue was like Fyre Festival wasn't really a thing, right? Like I was taking the artists that were signed to Fyre and other like talent signed to Fyre to these weekend long trips that we discussed, and people were having a blast. And it went from, talent that most people haven't heard of to talent everybody's heard of in the matter of like 3 weeks. Like a group would come back and be like, that was the craziest weekend of my life. And then we would get a call from an agent that like laughed me off the phone the week before, and just like escalated so quickly that it got to the point where these trips were just like the who's who of the social media world. It's like, fuck it, let's just make a video and see if anybody would actually want to come to this thing. And just drop this trailer video where we had maybe 15 models on the island, and we basically sat them down like at the only restaurant on the island. It's like, all right, look, girls, you're going to post this orange tile when we say go. And we have 400 more people who like want to be you who are going to post at the exact same time as well. And we did. I just like woke up the next morning. We'd sold like, X million dollars of tickets. And I'm like, fuck, I have no idea what I'm going to do.
How much cocaine was involved in this party?
I have never done cocaine in my life. And I think it's like something I get asked all the time.
But I mean, if you look, I read some of those emails that they had in the documentaries. Just the levels of cocaine energy that were popping off the screen were incredible. Like maybe I'm still not sure how much I believe you when you say that you haven't done cocaine, but like this entire endeavor seems like it was fueled by cocaine.
So I like to say that like I was such a pussy. Literally, I couldn't even drink coffee before, and now I'm doing coffee. So if there was like Fyre with no cocaine and no coffee, now there's coffee and pirate. So let's see how
all right,
crazy
so Billy McFarland's new business venture powered by Stella Blue Coffee. Got it.
Going back to that subconscious line you talked about, do you think going forward you're going to be a lot more cognizant of that sort of subconscious to conscious, like, is this going to cross the line, or is this small sort of stalling in order, because with dealing with anything you do have to like either withhold information or tell a white lie? Do you think you'll be able to make sure that that doesn't spiral out of control?
It's just hard to operate when you're lying. It's because like I was so scared of failing, because I didn't want to fail, but two, it's like if I failed, the lies then like come out. So I kept lying more just to not get in trouble for the lies. And like now I can't fail because like, I can go to jail. But at the same time, I'm like less scared of failing, because at the end of the day, there's no lies that anything is built on. Like hopefully it stays that way. But it's just easier, and you get better people. And when you're fucking honest, it's like, hey, I don't know how to do this. People are willing to help. And I almost pushed away like super smart people because I was just like telling them, hey, I got this. And I had no idea what I was doing. So it's a very interesting conversation that you are having with our Billy, because I do think that Billy could learn. There's so much that's applicable to Billy's life. And I mean this in like a loving way too, because I was telling Billy before we started recording, I was telling our Billy before we started recording that he's very bad at delivering bad news to people. And his natural instinct is to lie instead of to say like, hey, here's some bad news that you're not going to like. I think that you've probably dealt with that a lot. Do you have any advice for our Billy on how to be able to overcome that fear of disappointing people, to tell them the truth instead of lying and making things worse? Well, I think if you got in the ring with Jose Canseco and knocked him out, you've got it in you to deliver some bad news. But dude, I sucked at it. Like I'm still not great at it. But in the reality, when you tell a lie to like not deliver bad news, the bad news just gets worse. So, and like I started trying to like just get good at like, okay, I'm going to walk in here and say this bad thing for 15 seconds and it's all over. And you just feel a lot better after. But yeah, I'm still trying to learn.
I have a question schematically about the Fyre Fest, actually.
Yeah.
So along the lines of the time as we were started, like, so when you wake up in the morning and you sell millions, you realize you sold millions of tickets.
Yeah.
why not, instead of focusing on the date that we said, say, hey, let's push it back a year, because obviously we have something. So let's push it back a year and get everything, sorted out what we need to get sorted out. Like, why be hard stuck on that date?
I think if we did that, we'd be filming Macrodosing from the island right now. So like that was the biggest mess up. And in my mind, like literally, I was just like spending every dollar I was earning, and I was surviving on a literal daily basis. Like even though I had X number of employees and like my expenses were fucking like $5-10 million a month at this point, I was still like was worried about paying for dinner that night. I just couldn't like fathom 4 months in advance. Like to me, 4 months sounded like 3 years at that point in my life. I was just like too immature to realize that 4 months is just not enough time for anything. When I was just like worried about like, hey, how am I going to pay the dinner bill for my 40 friends tonight at this stupid club? Like, yeah, I just couldn't think long term.
Did you actually believe that it was going to happen and that you were going to be able to pull it off without a hitch up until the point where you had to get up on that table and tell people, hey, we don't have any rooms for anybody, so just kind of grab what you can get? Or did you know before, you had to have known before that day that things were going to be very, very bad?
So a quick aside there, when I'm standing on this milk carton, like basically telling everybody that like this is not going to work out, I got a call from one of the bigger New York tabloids, and they're like, we're about to run a story saying you ran off on your yacht with cocaine and models. And like literally on their homepage, they were live streaming me in the milk carton. So I'm like yelling at the reporter, it's like, go to your homepage. Like literally you had me standing right here, and they ran the story anyway, but just a funny aside. But anyway, I truly thought up until like that last second that it was going to work. And obviously like there were so many points now where I look back, I'm like, I'm a fucking moron. But yeah.
How did you think it was going to work though? Like you obviously had to have so many layers of self-deception and just like denial up until that point, because there were so many red flags and it was right in front of your face. What was the lie that you were telling yourself before you got up on that milk carton?
It's like, okay, we've done 12 trips here at this point, and half of them were like me waking up hungover to a phone call from some agent on Friday morning saying XYZ is down to go. And then us like figuring out a trip for 50 people, like including all their, ancillary whatever posses, and making the trip the best time of anybody's life. So I couldn't equate like the difference between, doing it for 50 people over a weekend to hosting thousands of kids who were just overpromised the world. And that was my mistake.
Mm-hmm. So you just figured like up until that point, it was like, fuck it, it'll work its way out.
Yeah. I'm like, the island is amazing. We have like, it
was an island.
It was not our private island at the end, but it was an island.
But your section was like a part of a bigger island.
Yeah, it was not the whole island, but the overall island I thought was amazing. I'm like, I was so stupid. Like we have boats, we have jet skis, we have hot girls, we have a lot of booze, like, and we have 30 artists that we actually did pay. Like this is going to work out, and I just couldn't fathom that it wasn't.
So some of the artists start to back out, things start to crumble. Well, the night before the event was supposed to be started, there was a big rainstorm.
Big storm came through.
So at that point, I think that's when even the most diehard Billy McFarland supporters that were working for you were like, I don't know if this rainstorm kind of screwed everything else up. For you, was there ever a moment where you wanted to just blame the rainstorm for everything that happened and be like, it was going to be great, it would have been an epic party except the rain?
I think I felt like I finally failed myself as like a man and a businessman when I came in. We had this little like house on the festival site, and I came in, and the top 20 people who were organizing the festival were all just like slumped over on the couch and like asleep on like the kitchen table, and I just like couldn't get them to move. And it's like I realized I just pushed people too hard, and they hit this breaking point where they no longer believed in my reality. And it's like literally couldn't move. I'm like, well, I just failed. Like this is over.
There was another scene in the documentary. I forget which one, but you ran into like a dead end with some problem that you had, and then you left the house. You got on an ATV and you started just driving it back and forth down a road really, really fast. And then you came back and you're like, I've got it. I figured it out. Was that like you were trying to brainstorm your way out of that situation? You needed like an extreme adrenaline rush?
Yeah, I guess like my adrenaline seeking was like my cocaine at the time, right?
Yeah.
Just finding ways to almost die, and like obviously wasn't going to die in the ATV, but like, trying to find ways to just push myself physically.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any of the documentaries on Woodstock 99, or like, which was a festival in itself that kind of went really sideways? Do you think that it was because this was one of the first festivals to have problems in the social media world that it got much more magnified and sort of became so viral?
It's a good question. And I think like if I just emailed everybody a week before and it's like, hey guys, the accommodations are not what I promised you. The artists are all real. The island or a piece of the island like actually is beautiful. Let's kind of come figure this thing out together. I think people would have gotten there with a better mentality where it's like, okay, our tents aren't going to be perfect, but like it's good enough and like let's have a great time. But the fact that they were promised such luxurious accommodations, it was almost like impossible to please. And I was so far off from what I did promise. Like I was the one who was wrong. But I think I just like was just so overselling where I could have built a more like community vibe and made it happen.
Was the biggest problem sort of supply chain and sort of sourcing a lot of the amenities that you had promised, or where exactly did that break down?
It was just time. Like literally like didn't know how to get mattresses and went on Amazon and bought $1 million of mattresses. It's like that was my solution to try to make tents, right? So it was just time and, stupidity.
Do you find it ironic at all that what you were selling to people as the Fyre Festival was the ability to party like your favorite influencer? So you were selling like the ability to get yourself into an image of something that you weren't, and what you were doing the entire time was projecting yourself as somebody that you weren't, as a giant promoter that was capable of pulling off the party of the century.
Yeah, I think I've thought a lot about like what the psychology of the ticket buyers was, and I think it was really I was selling the impossible, and I was saying like I'm going to turn the impossible that you've always dreamed of into a reality for 4 days of your life, and like that's worth whatever it takes to someone, right? And the issue was that the impossible can always get bigger, so the impossible is never good enough. Yeah, and that's where I really went wrong in like the marketing aspect of it.
Yeah, you should do like the exact opposite and throw Fyre Fest 2, except have it be like really mid-tier artists.
Yeah, exactly.
And then people show up and like Blink-182 is playing.
Yeah,
it's like the best concert of all time. But you market it as like a pretty shitty concert.
It's like I'll be cooking the grilled cheese sandwiches from like a food truck, and like we have some shitty artists. And,
so
undersell the shit out of
the crazy thing is like I've been saying for years that they should do Titanic 2.
Yeah,
and they should sell it.
That's a good idea.
They should have it go. You should be in charge of
That's a good idea.
I think I found my CEO for Titanic 2, guys.
We did an episode on the Titanic. We were like, we should do Titanic 2.
I mean, that's boss level Titanic 2 is, but this time Billy McFarland in charge of the entire
What a
party.
way to get the people to the festival. They're on Titanic 2. Everything goes wrong. We got to swim to the island. Let's go.
I was never sold on your Titanic 2, but if you sell him as the CEO, just fuck around and work, no.
Let's go. I've got his name loosely attached to it. But I bet you that people would buy tickets to a Fyre Fest 2 just to see what happens. Just in the same sick way I think that people would buy tickets to Titanic 2 that would sail the exact same route to see if they could get away with it this time. See if it was gonna work out this time.
That's the reason why I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. But like, do you know who operates the current Fyre Festival Instagram account?
I do.
Because it's still active, and obviously they have a sense of humor about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of people still follow, right? Like, I really do believe. Do you have any aspirations of ever doing anything like that again?
Well, first of all, tell this guy to give me my password back. I was so wrong in everything, but the motherfucker stole the account. So,
was he an employee of yours?
He was an intern for an agency that we had hired.
He was one of the fuck Jerry guys.
But he was like an intern for them.
Okay.
So
that's
like
hilarious.
He wasn't even like a Fyre like employee.
Honestly, respect.
I'm kind of with him. Like,
respect.
Eject you.
I mean, if the worst thing that happened to you was he took your Instagram password,
I think no. I did so much worse, so many more people, so I can't bitch about that and just being semi sarcastic. But yeah, give me my password back. But anyway, like I have to do the Fyre Festival again. I can't do it. Like I'm on probation, so I can't do it right now. But it needs to happen, and I think like I just need a great like events partner to handle the logistics and let me go crazy with the marketing and like the experience aspect.
So I think for all the stuff that you went wrong, and there's a laundry list of things that we could talk about specifically that went wrong, you probably agree with for the most part. You're a good promoter. Like you did get people to like all these huge influencers to build this up. You sold out of tickets, right? Mm-hmm. Like almost instantly. You're good at selling a dream. The problem is that you have to find a dream that's somehow grounded in reality.
Yeah.
That can be possible to pull off.
So now I'm trying like to do little things first that will build up to Fyre Festival too. So like I'm launching something today where I'm calling like Wave by Pirate. I'm basically not really on Twitter, but I want to build an algorithm to get my Twitter account fucking popping. And I have these like 1,000 diehard kids where if I like ask them to help me out, they will also go and do anything for me. So I'm building this thing called Wave where I'm going to post like a viral video or hope to be viral video on my Twitter and then ask them to quote like retweet me. And they get points for every quote retweet, but then they basically become salesmen. So they're going to go out and like DM bomb the world to quote retweet them, and they'll get points for that, and I have a live leaderboard for it.
Wait, that's Andrew Tate's model.
But I'm doing it on like Twitter with like a live leaderboard, totally transparent. And
Billy,
yeah.
Billy, I got a question for you, bro.
I'm just saying, no, I'm saying like that's a little.
No, not you, Billy. Not our Billy.
Oh.
New Billy. New Billy, I got a question for you. Do you not wonder about the psychology of these 1,000 diehard kids of why they're so attached to you? And like,
yeah,
has that ever crossed your mind?
Like I'm like literally trying to pay the bills and survive. So I'm doing consulting calls with them too. And it's like a lot of entrepreneurs. And yeah, there are some crazies, but there's like a lot of like legit entrepreneurs who've raised like a small seed round of funding and like they just don't know what to do next. So yeah, if I can help a couple of them, like super cool.
I think you just also invented Billy's List, which our Billy invented a few months ago, where he developed a list of thousands of young people that really cared a lot about him that would help him promote his things in exchange for Billy helping to promote their things. Am I way off on this?
No, I created a community of people with a lot of information. So like if you had a question about like a certain plumbing, or it would honestly to help me research for this show, to have like a list of experts, and hopefully I was hoping that they would start asking each other questions, so that if they had any questions like on whatever they needed, they could use it as a resource for everybody.
He developed his own online community, which is in a way kind of cool because there's people that were
really
practicing different trades and stuff. So it's not all bad what he's doing, but I think it's like there's some overlap. There's a lot of overlap.
Well, I'm not the only time I just I use the community to like spread content I create, or if we have like Black Friday sales at Barstool Sports, try to push merch to them. Which I mean,
I'd love to check it out. I created mine as like a SaaS software too. So the R&B artist Eric Bellinger is announcing his like tour on this using my software today too. And then the top 3 people on his leaderboard are going to get like meet and greets to all of his tour dates. So we're basically just like selling it to other brands. We're totally out of the box as well. So I'd love to check your shit out and see if I can.
It's just the Discord.
I gotta ask this question, man, because I know you haven't watched this documentary, but there was one thing that became a meme, and I'm unsure if you're aware of it.
Oh God,
Andy King.
Yeah,
Andy King. Are you in contact with Andy King? Were you aware? Was that story true? Like I need for people that don't know, Andy King was I'm not sure. I'm unsure what his title was and how he worked with you, but he basically. I'll let you tell the story. Go ahead.
Andy and I have texted back and forth maybe like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, this one's hard for me. Andy basically consulted for Magnesis for a number of years as an event planner. And he was great, like super hard worker, like amazing with people. And like, Andy was everything as advertised plus more. When we needed help with the Fyre Festival, of course, I gave Andy King a call and Andy King arrived. There became a point where the customs official or officer on the island decided to hold back the water. And I'm not sure like what the dollar value of the water was, but like it was enough water for 3,000 people over 2 weekends. So like significant, number of Evian waters, and they were sponsoring us to some capacity. And he wanted like $200,000 to release it, and we just like couldn't afford it. And there was no reason why we should have been paying that money. So he said, basically, fuck off. Like, we're not paying you. And in jest, I said to 2 team members, like, go do whatever it takes, like get this water released, but we're not paying this guy any money. So I think Andy King took that and ran with it. And whatever happened next is between Andy King and the Bahamas.
You weren't like, go suck this guy's dick for the water?
I said, like, just go do whatever it takes. Like, so it was more of like an in-jest comment. But
you do whatever it takes, wink, wink.
No, he was not ordered to go blow a guy for water, unfortunately.
Did you say it as a joke? Sometimes.
I don't recall. So
sometimes our Billy says things like that as jokes. I think
you're
just.
I got to talk to you after, Billy. Yeah.
No, I actually think that the meeting of these minds is too powerful for the world. I don't think it's a good
this podcast would put us out of business real quick.
It would. Big T, do you have any questions? I think we got to get wrapped up now.
Yeah. What was your best and worst day in jail?
Ooh, really good question. Okay, worst day in jail was I tried to do a podcast over the jail payphone, and it had like very, very small Instagram following. We released a trailer on my Instagram, and like an hour later, the guards came and grabbed me and threw me in solitary confinement. And like, they basically said, "Hey, you're not getting out of this one, McFarland." So now, like, all right, now I'm fucked. So like that day and night where I'm all alone, knowing that I didn't like truly break the rules, but like I kind of broke the rules and I was just fucked for it.
Is there a
that
rule
was the worst day.
against podcasting from jail?
No, but there's like an unspoken rule that if you're causing attention when you're in jail, like you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. And so you went to solitary confinement.
I did 7 months for that podcast.
That
in solitary?
Yeah.
All in solitary?
Straight. Yeah.
that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that sounds like the worst punishment that you can have is solitary confinement.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. And then so that was bad.
Was there ever a day in jail that you're like, it's a pretty good day?
That's a good question. I think it's like there wasn't like one day that was ever good. They were all bad, but there were a handful of times where I met someone like unexpectedly, and I'm like, wow, this is like a fucking good dude, and I wish I, had 3 friends like this who weren't in jail. So I think like those are the lasting moments, but it was never like, oh, this day was great because I met a cool guy. It's like this day was fucking terrible, but still this guy's pretty cool.
Is your episode of the podcast still out there? Better be a really good fucking episode. 6 months in solitary confinement.
I've listened to parts and it was terrible. I was so scared of saying anything controversial. It was like, I'm sorry, I'm so wrong, I'm sorry. So it was like super, super vanilla.
Did you, there were all these people that were saying, oh, he's in jail right now with the situation and Michael Cohen, because I think they were in the same facilities. I don't know how close you guys actually were, but at the time there was a lot of speculation like, oh, what are the situation Billy McFarland getting into right now in prison? Would love to be a fly on the wall in that cell. So
I was out of jail for 6 months. There was like mostly white collar people. I just didn't last very long, got in trouble there. They just like kept sending me to worse and worse places. But at that one, the situation and Michael Cohen were there at the same time as me. There's only like 120 of us at that place, so super small. And but
we've had Michael Cohen on the show. We got to get the situation, complete the triumvirate. Yeah.
What did you, if you don't mind us asking, what did you do to get sent to the worst places?
So at the first jail, this is not the USB device I used for the documentaries, but I had a USB device in that first jail. I was trying to write a book. Damn. And so went to solitary for 3 months for that, went to a worse place. Then the podcast, solitary for 7 months in an even worse place. So I kept getting in more trouble.
Damn.
Yeah.
You work out situation in jail?
Not really.
Do GTL with the situation in jail?
Gym tan laundry, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean you're probably at work in the laundry facility.
Yeah.
I think we had the same laundry guy.
When you get jail. I mean, when you get your how much sunlight do you usually get when they let you out?
At that place you can go out whenever you wanted, but like the worst places were, I didn't go outside for like 19 months straight at one point.
Oh my god.
That sounds awful. All right, well I guess we'll let you go. We could talk for like 3 hours. But I do want to be in touch in the future about the boxing thing, because we might be able to set something like that.
Can we do like kickboxing?
We've only been able, so it's like officially licensed and sanctioned by state boards and stuff. So we had to jump through a lot of hoops because it's an event that we put on a few times a year. So it's very much like on the up and up and all certified. We have not been able to do kickboxing yet. So I think it might just be boxing at this point.
He's super short. It's kind of be fun to kick him in the head a little bit, but
I mean, honestly, if we were to do it in the Bahamas, I don't know what the sanctioning body in the Bahamas, it might be easier to get something like that.
Who knows? Well, I'll talk to some people about it and we'll see what we can figure out. But Billy, thank you for coming on.
Can I do one shout out real quick?
Yeah.
We're hiring for Pirate. So if you go to bountyhunterworld.com/pirate, come join the team.
Billy, you have permission to apply. You absolutely do. All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, PFT. Thank you, Arian. Appreciate it.
All right. That was Billy from the Fyre Festival. Let us know what you think. So a little behind the scenes. I've been in touch with Dave about Billy fighting in Rough and Rowdy. He wants Billy to fight Ja Rule in Rough and Rowdy, obviously. I think that would do an insane amount of pay-per-view. And then if we could figure out a way where Billy's cut of the prize money goes to the people that he stiffed in the Bahamas or anybody else that he owes money to. I don't know. That might be a good way to handle it. We'll figure it out. So we'll now Ja Rule, the ball is in your court. You've taken a number of public L's recently, my man Ja Rule. Billy football, our Billy, only knows you as the dude that got bodied by Eminem.
Yeah.
So it might be time, if you want to switch up the brand, why not step into the ring with Billy McFarland and show him what the hands do?
I think it's that because like I don't know where Ja Rule stands on it as far as like his culpability, but he definitely, legally he had to say all that shit he said, right? But he definitely, was involved in the scam, right? So I think it would be good. Like, I really do think that would be good if y'all raise a whole bunch of money and help pay back a whole bunch of people that were actually harmed. That would be, what I'm saying, because you have to have some kind of remorse for the shit. So I think that'd actually be good. I just want to go on the record and say that Ja Rule's going to dog walk Billy McFarland. Like, Ja Rule's going to beat the shit out of him.
This will be like a ball don't lie situation.
Yeah.
Ja Rule has
like
a chance. Ja Rule has a chance to prove ball don't lie.
So after
Ball
we were
don't
done
lie.
taping, Billy McFarland was like, I think I could beat him up because Ja's tiny. He said Ja's like 5'7".
Oh my God, this was my.
What?
This is why I said I could beat up Jake Paul.
Because Jake
Way
Paul's
back
tiny?
in the day.
Except like Billy is a decent size dude. He's about your size, Billy.
He's
And Ja,
I sized him up.
and I'm bigger. I know you did, but he's about your size. I'm bigger than Ja Rule, and I could beat up Billy. So I think Ja Rule could beat up Billy McFarland.
Which Billy?
Both of you.
My money's
Beat up
on
both.
Ja Rule.
Billy and Billy have a lot to talk about. We're going to get them together again shortly. And if Ja Rule doesn't want to fight, I would honestly lose a lot of respect for Ja. I would.
How old's Ja now? Let's.
40, late 40s, mid to late 40s.
He's
Stand up for
46 years old.
Stand up for yourself, Ja.
Yeah.
He is 5'9".
Wow.
if that's what it
tiny
says
like
on the
PFT.
He does. He looks. He looks a little anabolically enhanced,
Okay.
which could impact his breath in a fight. In
Also,
the ring, popcorn muscles do tire you out faster.
if this doesn't work out, then Titanic 2 is still a very viable business model for
I
Billy to
think
lead.
that shit would be hilarious.
Billy
Call it
McFarland.
the Water Fest.
There you go. I like it. You can't get sued for false advertising if you're on a boat called the Water Fest and it sinks.
On the Titanic too.
We told you when the name of the festival was the Water Fest. What did you
Oh
think?
my God! You know what they should call the first event?
What?
Icebreakers.
That's good, Billy.
I like that. I like that. Okay, Billy.
Let
I'm
him
with
cook.
you on that one.
All right, that's macrodosing. That's a good way to end it. We'll see you guys next week. Fun episode. Next week will be good. Also, tickets available.
We should have gotten Billy to try to sell our live show.
Oh my God.
Oh fuck.
Tickets available at the Sony Hall.
Well, it exists,
Yeah.
and the tickets are real.
Yeah, but
I'm actually okay with him not promoting.
And you'll
it.
actually, like, if you buy the VIP thing, you get the VIP thing. Like,
Yeah,
so,
full VIP experience.
So it's not. Maybe it's
We
better.
have a
that
Billy
we handle
McFarland
it.
special. We have a Billy McFarland special where you can meet us after the show and Ja Rule.
I heard that the Sony Hall used to be owned by Pablo Escobar. So
Unconfirmed, but you never know.
come hang out where he was hanging out.
wait, is it like next to the Sony Museum? The Sony thing?
I don't know where the Sony Museum is.
On West 46.
It's in like Times Square.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week on the show. And then seriously, would love to see you next week in New York. If you're in the city, come on by, say hi. Love to meet you guys. Always love talking to Macrodosians.
And then we're going to Yard House.
We're going to Yard
And
House.
Big T's gonna try to predict if you're a lib or not.
Yep.
He's gonna go around.
I've been getting some good questions together.
The lib
He's been
detector test
sniffing.
is one of the funnier parts of the last live show. So we're running that one back. All right. We will see you guys next week. Love you guys.